Behold your children of time.
Patience, my brethren.
The Great One is all-seeing. All praise to the Great One.
Yeah, I don't mean me. I'm not the Great One. In fact, that shouldn't be allowed on the stream. Right. What does a Doctor Who fan do, whether happy or frustrated, after seeing all the various YouTube and podcast streams on the latest episode 2, yeah? The Robot Revolution. Will you give this a try? You've already heard my views, forthright, and all on 2 varied reviews. First one was on Saturday night at 11 p.m. on our Who Night First Impressions, and you heard our reactions full forensic show on Sunday night at 5:45 with scores and ratings and all that jazz. But tonight is different. Feels different this time. This is Russell's Children of Time. I'll explain. I've assembled a panel of Russell T Davies' Children of Time. They're all under 35. Don't you dare anybody say, how the hell am I on it? I'm going to, because you know my views, I'll pull back a bit. Now, why have I picked this? Well, number one is to freshen it up because you've seen loads of streams on the Robot Revolution. And I'm going to be much edgier, spikier with them and throw RTD's comments back at the panel in relation to Robot Revolution. Did he deliver? So, of course, here's our beginning context. Doctor Who is the top drama for under 35s, says the BBC and RTD, hence why I've got the panelists as they are. And then in Britain, certainly, he said, we're getting the biggest, youngest audience of any drama or any show on television. And that's the audience that is deserting television. So we are delighted. So you see why I've set it up like this. Apart from me, they're all under 35. They'll show you their credentials, so to speak. And then we'll fire off and run in. So we're going to be on the Robot Revolution. So who have I got on board? First of all, Sean, name, number, and rank.
Hey, Brendan. Sean, 35. I don't know what you rank. Don't have one.
So you just he won't be on it like next year. You'll be null and void, mate. And we've got Sonny. Your age?
Captain Sonny Waffles, age 26. I am your captain, and I can't wait to give it to the Robot Revolution, man.
So you slip into this. And we've got Cinnamon. He'll come and go. He's in his own little time, Eddie, as usual. But go on then, Cinnamon. Your name and number and age.
Yeah, as always, I'm the 4th Doctor in the 5 Doctors. I'm there for about 2 minutes. You might never see me again. But I'm Cinnamon Toast Crunch, your favorite friendly neighborhood cereal, age 22. Total psychopath.
Yeah, but he'll be a psychopath after this if he keeps coming and going. And then we have Ryan. Your age?
I'm 31 tomorrow.
And yeah, congratulations on that. It's his birthday tomorrow, and he could be out on a Raz tonight, but he's with us. So thank you for that, Ryan.
Hey.
I don't know. You might regret it though. You might regret it. So we're here to look at the Robot Revolution, and I am going to be, like I said, much spikier with it. So you're not going to see all the panelists all at once because we're going to get to it. So the first item, just to get you all warmed up though, is what the F. So of course, for that one, I will just quickly start with Ryan there. So Ryan, when you saw the Robot Revolution, without swearing, what the F did you notice that warmed the cockles of your heart?
Oh, is this meant to be a good thing or a bad thing?
It is a bad thing, probably. Well,
right.
No, the truth is, what the F is, I suppose, something that's shocking and surprising. I shouldn't lead the panel, should I, folks? Because they're the chosen ones. While you're thinking...
Well, I'll tell you what, actually, and this is going to be shock horror here, I actually didn't think it was that bad.
No, you've got to give your honest opinion. A lot of people say it's better than Space Babies.
Oh, yes, no, but I think it was better than anything from season 1. But like obviously it has a lot of problems, but I think it was a very rompy, campy series opener, sort of what you would come to expect from a Doctor Who season opener, to be honest. Obviously, there was a few things I really didn't like, but I Yeah, I would say it's definitely better than anything we've had out of season 1. But yet again, that's not saying much.
Is there anything in the episode that you did think tanked?
Well, one thing that really sort of made me, now this is really stupid, right? But I haven't heard anybody else mention this, and I sort of was like, "What? That's a bit irresponsible." Now I know it's a kids show; we're not meant to look too much into it, but it's me, and I do see these things. Whenever he goes into the hospital looking for Belinda, and he's at the desk trying to get her details, and the woman's not giving her them, giving him them, and he sonics the computer and blows the thing up, and all of the power goes out. So you're telling me the doctor basically knocked out all of the power in a hospital. That I assume there was people on life support in that hospital. So did the doctor just kill a load of people on life support? I don't know. And the don't kill animals in Doctor Who. I don't know. Even don't kill the cat. And there was a very badly CG. It was weird. The TARDIS, whenever it materialized outside the hospital, it looked very odd.
Okay, well, I'm gonna keep going. It's not about me tonight. You've seen me on Sunday and Saturday give my reviews, and I may butt in, of course. So this is the first item. I'm going to bring on Sean next on what he thinks, and I don't want to lead him. So what the F? Let's just line up. Okay, so over to Sean. Sean, what the F for you then?
Robot Revolution had me pining for bloody vodka revolutions. Gee, what an absolute mess. I mean, it was just awful. Absolutely awful.
Don't hold
I mean, for a start,
don't hold
I
back.
agree with No, yeah, but I'm trying to, not be too blue. I agree with Ryan. The whole thing around the hospital was just horrendous. I mean, for a start, and I actually went and checked this with a medical. I didn't go to the doctors, but I checked this because I thought, hang on, that's a bit weird. In the UK, you have to be a registered doctor to do a relocation of a shoulder. A nurse doesn't do that. They're not allowed to do that. And yes, I know she's on a different planet and all that jazz, but it's just sloppy. It's just, and that's not the biggest thing that annoyed me, but it's just, I rewatched it right before the stream and it gets worse because once you've seen it once, you just pick it to pieces. Absolutely pick it to pieces. And why isn't it taking itself seriously? I mean, there's some things I liked. I thought Shooty, funnily enough, acted more like the Doctor in this than any other episode. But that's mainly because he stands in the corner and doesn't talk for most of it. And then when he talks, it's like,
okay,
here we go again.
Right.
So,
well, I'll
awful.
Well, I will bring Sonny in now. Good to see you, Sonny. What the F? Your thoughts?
My thoughts. I thought this episode was mid, very, very mid at best. And that's me being generous, to be honest with you. I tried rewatching it today, and I got up to the part where the doctor started talking every ninth word. They said, here's the historian. I thought of 5 different things I could be doing in that moment and turned it off. It's just nonsensical. And the sad part is that there are good parts. Like, the best actor is Al. That beginning part where he proposes to Belinda, not really proposes, but he's just like trying to give her a gift and be a good boyfriend, I guess, is his only crime. He was a good actor, and I was like, wow, he's better than I thought he was. And it was funny the second time, but the first time around, it was cringe. And I can imagine somebody interpreting that the opposite way on second viewings. But if you look at my first impressions reviews, it's for the fans, but it's not for the fans, because only fans would be laughing at these jokes or even enjoying half of this stuff. But like at the same time, if you don't agree with their ideology, then it's an attack. It's a dog whistle, like you're an incel. So,
well, while we've got Cinnamon there, Cinnamon, obviously we're doing what the F, but I'm going to throw this to you, Cinnamon, and let the other panelists have a think. In relation to what you thought of Robot Revolution, RTD says, and like I said, I'm going to keep throwing his words back at you. I want people, he said, to turn from the news and to turn from whatever aggression there is online and to come to a nice, safe space. Did you feel like that, Cinnamon, when you watched the Robot Revolution?
No, I don't think any of us did. It's funny he uses the word online there. And when we talk about incels and maybe incel culture, I mean, that's predominantly online. I'm sure we can get more in depth with it, but no, this doesn't ring true at all.
And it is the what the F item. So were there any what the F moments for you, Cinnamon?
Quite a few. Maybe the what seems to be the abortion allegory was kind of sprinkled in there a little bit. Again, the very, very clunky message that Russell tries to tell you that seems to fall on its face. You can't even seem to do that right. So yeah, there's a few things.
And you're right, Cinnamon. You know streaming pretty well. We're gonna keep moving. I'll keep throwing stuff at you. People will come and go. If people keep people leaving the screens, in most occasions, it's because I'm just making it a bit zippier. Sean, do you find this statement from RTD really rich and nourishing and thoughtful and caring? And that's why Robot Revolution looked like it did.
Well, you know, let's take this stream as an example, right? Your YouTube channel. You don't convince people to come to it by going, come to our stream. All the others are terrible, they're negative, they're miserable. That doesn't work. I don't understand why he's got this outlook on, I was going to say life, but on the show. Tell people why they should be tuning in. Not, well, if you want to get away from, you know, the hell that is life, why don't you turn Doctor Who on? Because then it gets worse. Do you know, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, someone needs to just say to him, mate, shut up. We've given you a lot of money to make a good show. You've failed. But the very least you could do is lie. We've all supported football teams or any team where they're getting relegated, and you can see it all season. The manager never comes out and goes, oh, well, you know, all the other teams that aren't doing too great. It just doesn't make sense.
Now,
you know, just have a bit of decorum and just sell your bloody show.
Right. Well, Zero Room here, Brian, who's one of our panelists usually, says another review of the episode popped up on Doctor Who TV and it's not good. Nice to know they're unbiased. And we're another stream tonight. And what I wanted to say is, hey, they have chosen their ages, so to speak. I mean, Fortune has favoured their age. And these are the target market. And you can hear there's most negativity. Ryan did say it was better than Space Babies, but that's fainting with... Sorry, that's praise that's pretty faint, isn't it? Anybody else want to come in on this statement by RTD regarding... I mean, I'm shocked that he says, you know, that Doctor Who at the moment is a safe space, because what happened in some parts of that episode, the dead cat, as Ryan mentioned, some people have really gone to town on that. The egg and the sperm bit and killing somebody because he was a toxic male. Nice safe space. Not for...
But the doctor's reaction, that was the worst bit. That was the worst bit. The doctor's reaction. That was the worst bit.
Yeah. I know, but
he laughs. Someone's been killed. This is the same doctor.
Right. I'll bring in Sonny then.
This is the same doctor that...
Sorry, I've been in Sonny. Here we go. This is why I'm going to have people on and off all the time. I'll do that, just spiky. And to turn from whatever aggression there is online and to come to a nice, safe space. But what I thought it was a microaggression. She was slagging off microaggressions about tuts and all the rest of it. But actually, what the doctor did when he laughed at Alan dying or never existing is aggressive in itself, Sonny.
It is. For anybody who disagree, it's a direct dog whistle. You talk about incel, that's a dog whistle culture. Just because it's an online term, it's still part of the culture and part of the zeitgeist. That's why they referenced it. But it's supposed to be a gag, right? So like, it's a joke to you, but it's a dog whistle to other people. Technically, it could bring up trauma if we really want to get into it, but I don't think anybody's ready for that. But this quote is wild to me because he's identifying his competition. He wants you to turn away from the news, right? To
Yeah.
me, that's a guy named Anomaly, like on YouTube, who's a reporter, right? And like what is it? Oh, OMG News. Like, what, it's not television, it doesn't even compete. So like if I equate those things, I'm not putting this on for a rewatch over some real news that I can get. It is
Yeah.
it's
So
crazy.
Cinnamon, I can see Cinnamon's trying to get in there, and then Ryan.
Am I?
Oh, okay.
I mean, I
right,
can
over
talk.
straight to Ryan. Okay, Ryan, then go for it, Ryan.
Oh, sorry, right, can someone just, maybe I'm just being really, really stupid here. Can someone please explain to me how Alan at the beginning of the episode was a dickhead? Because, like, he might have been a bit of a prick, but did he not do a nice thing by going out and naming a star after someone he liked? Or am I completely misreading that altogether?
Nice guys finish last. He wasn't an alpha male, so he failed.
What I'll say first is this, and then I'll bring in Sean, who's been very polite with his hand, is this. I watched it again today, and the first time round, I thought, oh, that was a romantic gesture, as you're saying, Ryan. I mean, come on, you know, he did something, he paid for a star naming and everything. While he did that, he was given the comment, when you watch it back, he said, oh, you know, you could have saved the wrapping paper to use again. So obviously he's got that kind of quality to him. However, I thought
He's just autistic.
I thought that, yeah, well, there's that as well. I thought the progressives nowadays would have been all for recycling.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, Sean, what were you going to say?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, going back to what Sonny was saying and Ryan, what we've all looked at with the Alan character, we don't get given enough to see what's really going on, because at first he seems a bit awkward. You know, I mean, how old are they meant to be? 17 years ago. I mean, I don't know how old they're meant to be, but teenagers, young adults, I don't know.
I reckon.
So he's probably not very. He's clearly nerdy. He watches his shows. He's got sci-fi posters, and I'm not. You know, I'm a nerd myself. He's clearly probably a bit awkward. But for me, it's like this is the problem with Doctor Who now, that this coercive control and gaslighting people and making people doubt themselves, and building them up to break them down. You know, those real, and I use this in a proper context, not a media context, like toxic relationships, you know, abusive relationships. That's it's a massive thing, and it happens. And for a show like Doctor Who and someone like RTD to go, do you know what? I'm going to be the place to have this conversation. No, mate. No, you're not. It's not the appropriate place. No. This is what you need. Someone just say to him, no. Because you can't get into it. Like, if you're going to get into it, but not on Doctor Who. Because they keep telling us it's a kid's show. And then they keep ramming all this stuff. It's like, make your mind up. Is it or isn't it?
That's why I said he says it's a safe space. Now, you can see the score now. I'll keep showing you RTD references in relation to this episode. Now, Stephen Braddock here, good to see you. The scene with the cat I found totally distasteful. I think that's why Ryan brought it up. And it didn't need to be there. It was just there for shock value. Being a cat lover, I was disgusted this was in a family show. What I will say to Stephen and Ryan and anybody is, the beginning of this episode had a slight Mars Attacks vibe to me, where basically they turn and, you know, they shoot the president dead. And it always is, the cheek of it makes you almost want to laugh. But I can see where you're coming from, Stephen, but I think they were trying to do various styles. I mean, for example, on Unleashed, he said he wanted the retro rocket and the retro style. Mm-hmm. I had been slagging that off. I didn't like it. Sean? And it's not Sean, sorry, Ryan.
No, I was just going to say, I'm not sure if anybody else thought this, but, right, and your man said it perfectly there, it doesn't know what it wants to be. 1 minute it's bringing up something very, very serious, like conversive control, but then on the flip side of that, large, massive chunks of this episode personally felt like the same tonal style as an episode of the Sarah Jane Adventures.
I know. I agree totally. Now, I'll dabble with people on the screen just to kind of keep tasting it up. But Cinnamon, if you want to come in.
What makes me laugh as well is that another thing is that the whole reason this plot even happens is because essentially Belinda throws him under the bus. Because if it wasn't for her, from what I grasp of it, if it wasn't for her mentioning him, again, Alan Bud, I call him Dan. I don't know why I call him Dan. I keep calling him Dan. That's how forgettable he is. If she hadn't mentioned him, then they wouldn't give the robots a reason to go back and get him, which then turned him into this robot thing. Which again, it's funny, is the messaging is really clunky and it's a very kind of forced episode. It's very rushed and there's not much flow into it. It doesn't really flow very well. A lot of things happen because it needs to happen because we need to move the plot along.
Well, let's
again, Daniel is Alan Bud. I do it again. Alan Bud is an incel because apparently we're just told it. We don't really get to really see it.
Well, let's work through
a few examples. But that's it.
Let's work through, because I've got loads of different slides and prompts to get for everybody to come on to. So with Sonny as well. This is another thing that RTD, you are the chosen ones. You've just watched the Robot Revolution. And he said, if things are polarizing, I think we're in a healthy position. So if you fans are finding that a polarizing episode or moments in it are polarizing, that's healthy. There you go, Sonny.
Healthy? Okay, I guess. Sure. If healthy means people are talking about it, sure, they're not saying good things about it, and I guess that's healthy in your mind. Like, you can't equate. It's like healthy is a weird word to use to try to trick you in that it's good, because how are we analyzing the health of a TV show, and it's not like we're saying good things about it. So, like, is it healthy? Sure. I think he's a genius now. Good job, RTD.
What were you thinking, Ryan, when, it's healthy that we're slagging it off? It's healthy that we're critical.
I will just point out, I had no idea what you just said there because I couldn't hear him. But did anybody else notice so that now the robots? Can I quickly talk about the robots? Because I kind of like them, but here's the thing: stolen idea. Sure, yeah. Stephen Moffat done the same thing with the emoji robots, with the same thing. But yet again, it was like an amalgamation of that, and then the big red robot thing from that Christmas special with River Song with the changing heads. And then obviously you have the mystery box. Yeah, it seems to be he's sort of trying to be Stephen Moffat at the minute. He's stealing his ideas and having a mystery box companion every season. So.
Agreed. It's not original at all, but that's healthy for the show because we noticed it and now we're talking about it. And
did you hear that, or am I just dead?
No, it's all right. No, keep going. Otherwise, so Sean, in how he's kind of delivered the Robot Revolution and how he wants to be so kind of on the money, you can see here, Sean, we've all discussed the ratings. Obviously, overall, it was 2.05 on the night. But since then, we've learned more. Whether it's in fourth place or not for the days by the by, it basically only got 91,000 people who actually streamed it on the first day. That's a real dip. On top of that, you can see for its slot, it only got 17% of the potential audience. And if you see before, it was a higher percentage as well as a higher audience. And after it, the week, this is mad. This is mad. Doctor Who got half the figures of Britain's Got Talent, and it got half the audience share. This is not a good position.
Well, to quote the great Chuckle Brothers, oh dear, oh dear.
I love Sonny.
It is. Sorry, I couldn't resist. It's not good, is it? It really isn't. It's showing you that people are turning off. They're getting to the end. I mean, Gladiator's the final. I don't know anyone who's watching. So it's getting beaten by, shows that people aren't even kind of, these things aren't in the zeitgeist. And people, I mentioned to the guys at work, no one knew Doctor Who was back. Yeah. Not a single one. And they don't care. It's lost those
Cinnamon.
casual viewers completely because
Yeah,
There you go.
Cinnamon, does this make sense to you? I mean, what I'm trying to do is remember everybody on my panel tonight is under 35, and I'm trying to assess, does this make sense to you younger ones? Because okay, I'm 56 sat here and I'm dyed in the wool and critical and cynical. But to you, Cinnamon, age 22, when you see Gladiators gets nearly 1 million more and a higher audience share, and you see that Britain's Got Talent on the other side got double, does that make sense to you?
No, and it clearly doesn't make sense to the BBC because they've got absolutely no faith in it. We're at a point now where we're talking about the most expensive episode made might not even be broadcast live or aired live as it traditionally might be because of an issue with FA Cups going into extra time and it being squeezed in between Eurovision, etc. So that, and I'm thinking there, I'm left thinking, what reality would that have happened before? I couldn't imagine that of happening in the RTD1 era. So no, I mean these are abysmal numbers, and this is only the season premiere. And as we know, the season premiere usually gets a fairly decent shock at it, and then it usually dips a little bit later. So this is very worrying.
What I'm trying to understand here, Ryan, is does it make sense to you that, you know, Anton Deck, a talent show, you could call it, on ITV gets double? I keep going back to 20 years ago with Eccleston, and Anton Deck's takeaway was whopped by Doctor Who. And now it just shows you that one show has dipped so dramatically. But I'm only talking stats. Does it make sense to you what figures you're seeing here?
Oh, yeah, it makes perfect sense because all of those other programs on that list is family viewing that the entire family still likes to enjoy watching.
Yeah.
Where Doctor Who isn't anymore.
No, and Sonny, are we onto something here? That's a good point, though, Ryan. That I have to say, I think that's a really good point, which is, you know, mums and dads sitting down with their kids can watch Gladiators, the final. That makes sense. It says what it, you know, it does what it says on the tin. Britain's Got Talent. You're going to watch comedians. You're going to watch singers. You're going to watch strange variety acts. Doctor Who, you don't know what you're going to get, and actually, some of the dialogue you do wonder. So, what were you going to say, Sonny?
It's just very true. We're getting the truth. So that means I can't believe these guys are so negative. Like, this isn't RTD's audience, remember? He wants you to turn from the news. So you can't compare with these figures. So of course we're losing to these figures. We're supposed to lose to these figures. You compare it to the news, and then if you turn from the news, it's healthy. So it's healthy to me. You got the truth right here.
So there's sense there somewhere. So here we go. Now, our next item is when we look at the story. So let me just pitch it up a little bit. So this time, it's obviously, let's just focus on the actual story. Now, my dad is not in this age bracket. Yeah, you'd be very shocked at that. But he texted me tonight, and my dad's normally Mr. Positive about Doctor Who, even the Jodie era. And I look at him going, Dad, are you for real? And then he actually said to me, he said, I watched Doctor Who, Brendan. So my dad's, 78? And he said, there's very little story. And I thought, thank you very much, Dad. I said, you're getting quoted tonight. So, Cinnamon, just on the story, you know, comparing to other Doctor Who's, was this light for you 22-year-olds? Did you feel patronized?
It was incredibly light. When we actually just break it down, and this is when you break anything down to its most simplistic form, anything will sound stupid. But let's actually look at it. The story is that she gets kidnapped because, you know, a boyfriend at the time gives her this, awful gift, apparently. She then is then, of course, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly. Again, that's used as a bit of an excuse to sort of explain away things without really explaining it. So essentially, she gets kidnapped, and then largely kind of because of her, she gets her ex-boyfriend kidnapped, who then causes a bit of a revolution. So basically, there's tyranny on an alien planet, and that's it. That's essentially it. She kind of causes it without it really being maliciously her fault. But that's it. She gets kidnapped by robots, and then a revolution happens, and that's it. They've got to stop it. It's stretched out to 45 minutes. So yeah, really captivating.
What do you reckon, Sean, on the story? I mean, to me, the story, my complaint for ages, but I'm well over your ages, is that it's talking down. It's Doctor Who light. It's Doctor Who. It's colouring by numbers. I mean, Sean, do you feel patronised when you watch and you see a story so light?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was Doctor Who light. I'd say it was Doctor Who. Add your word there. It's just not good enough. I mean, the problem is you just don't care about anybody. It's like Sasha 55, whatever her name is, dies, and it's like, are we meant to care? It's like they seem to have forgotten that. For me, like, it doesn't matter if like the Doctor is crying because he's known someone for 6 months. Well, we don't know them, so why should we care? The characters aren't likable. They've got no personality. It's like RTD took the spiky side of Donna, shoved it together with, and I love Martha Jones, but kind of Martha Jones at the end when she says, I'm walking away, I need to look after my family. But you can understand that after all she's been through and her family have been through. It's just an absolute mess. And on the rewatch this afternoon, you can pick it to pieces. Pick it to pieces. Like why don't the robots like know who the Doctor is? Like, oh, I've been here for 6 months. I've worked your way up to be a historian. Well, did the robots not wonder who the guy was who was like, hiya, robots, and high kicked his way out of the TARDIS? Did no one go, hang on, isn't that fella but with longer hair? Like, you're telling me no one? I just thought, and the bit where that woman's like, help us. But then after that, you have to use every ninth word. And then they thought we were that stupid. They were like, they've repeated it. It made me sick.
But if I show you this, like I said, we're going to keep going spiky here. So this is a story section now. One of our panelists from Saturday, Simon Anthony, hope you're well in hospital. Brendan, are you leading them on? I don't. Do I need to lead Sonny, Cinnamon, Sean, and Ryan on? I knew what their opinion was before they came on the show. No. Am I leading you on, lads?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
He's got a gun to my head.
I just said RTD was a
way?
genius.
As in making you negative, I suppose.
I just said RTD was a genius. His last two quotes make perfect sense to me.
Yeah. Here's this quote. I wanted a hero. This is RTD. You can answer it in relation to Robot Revolution. I wanted a hero who felt more, no longer closed and all stiff upper lip, for all those young people who are fragile with their mental health. So I assume he means you four. No,
It got felted by.
Yeah, very condescending there.
Yeah, right.
Infantilizing.
I mean, can I just pick apart that while I can? I mean, that's stupid. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, yeah, there's merit in saying in life that it's not. You shouldn't be afraid as a bloke to open up about your emotions. But let's remind ourselves that this isn't just your regular Joe Blogs off a council estate. This is the Doctor from a very ancient civilization. Again, he's not shown, and I like this Doctor to some degree. I do. I see a lot of things I do like in it, but I also see a lot of things I don't like in it.
Like what?
And there's just
Like what?
a lot of times there's just, and again, one of those things I don't like is that he doesn't have those heroic moments. He's often sat there on the floor, cheer him up. Again, I did like the bit about the companion.
What you like, Cinnamon, please.
Well, what about this Doctor? Well, particularly
Please, yes.
some part of the attitude, some of his characterization. It's a double-edged sword. Some of it comes across fine, and then you realize, you
didn't give me a moment.
Like that, but then you get the agenda sprinkled in with it. Like for example,
You didn't give me a moment, Cinnamon.
well, like Boom, I thought was a good moment. It's not about moments; it's more about as a characterization.
Well, hold on. We won't cut across each other, otherwise it won't work. But Stephen Braddock here, you said obviously Rachel, who was obviously on Sunday, did a 15-minute breakdown. I'll show you. We're doing that a bit later tonight. We did it on Sunday as well. I broke down every 5 minutes. So yes, I know all about that data, and we're going to talk about that a bit later. Just give us a few seconds, all right? But did he seem heroic in Robot Revolution? Is my question, because that kind of links with what's going on there. Because if he thinks the younger generation, you under 35s, are a little bit more fragile and needing some sort of great leadership of, you can't have this cold, clinical, stiff upper lip alien that you used to have in Doctor Who. So, Sean, are you feeling that that's what you got with this new Doctor, that he spoke to you?
It doesn't make any sense. You can have this if you want to have a story, or you want to have a kind of linear story about mental health. You do it through the companions. You don't do it through the Doctor. You do it through the companions, and then you could have the Doctor being like using his experience, his knowledge. He's 2,000 years old to say, and you could have something in there about resilience, about asking for help when you need it, not being afraid to speak out, but also learning techniques to get on with your life, really powerful messages that actually might help people. But you do it through the companion, and you do it well, and you do it properly, and you do it through an amount of episodes so that the audience cares about it. You don't just do what they've done here and throw a character in, and within 5 minutes we're meant to like her. God knows how. We're meant to want to we think everybody around her is a villain. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. And this attitude doesn't make any sense. You're trying to change who the Doctor is. And I think that's why most people have gone. They've gone. They've had enough.
Yeah. I mean, I struggle because I will do the breakdowns in a minute, and I'll save what I was going to say there because I saw the pattern. But Sonny, you have always said to me that you came later to Doctor Who, and obviously you're 26, and you're discovering the classic Who now, and Pertwee and Troughton and all the rest of it. Do you agree with what RTD's philosophy is? Because RTD seems to be saying that your generation wants a different type of hero, one who's emotionally fragile and shows you all the outlets. I mean, that's what he cried again after 20 minutes.
If I have a fragile mental health state, wouldn't I want to base my role model off of somebody who has a complete mental health state? Like one that doesn't cry in every situation they get in, that shows they have a fragile mental health state? It doesn't make sense. The only heroic characters in this episode are all dead. Alan's dead. Sasha 55 is dead. And Sasha had real character moments. Belinda didn't have any likable character moments, and the Doctor had absolutely zero character moments.
And this is what I want to bring all of you in for, because this is the key. If this Doctor is the Doctor for the new generation of, kids up to 35, I found it a bit disturbing. And this is what I'm saying. I'm not leading them, Simon Anthony. I'm doing a question. These people have autonomy. They can soon fire back and saying you're leading us on or whatever. I'm just, if it's provocative, that's called doing good debating skills. My point is, when Sasha 55, as Sonny said, had died, I felt led by RTD's writing that I should be bothered about her dying when she'd hardly been on screen. And when Alan was erased from history, we laughed. And so is this the new caring hero that we want? Because to me, that wasn't a hero I wanted, but maybe I'm getting it wrong. What do you think? None of them think anything. So we'll move on to the next question. That's okay. We'll go to the next question. Yeah, if nobody's got an answer on that one, I'll move on. So
I do have an answer. I didn't want to cut across anybody. I wanted to see if anyone.
Well, then if you do it now, because I'm just trying to stop any delays. That's all.
Just the very fact that he cared more about the butterfly in the Space Babies. Remember that when he was breathing some of his Time Lord's energy into it, and he resurrected the butterfly. and he was very he couldn't believe that was stepped on. But polish. Oh no, dear, never mind. Just another incel.
Yeah, I must admit that's where I was coming from in that one. So this one, remember, it's just in relation to Robot Revolution. I've slaved over every word RTD says, and I've sat there at 2 a.m. deciding whether a sentence begins and or but or yet. Did you get a sense when you watched Robot Revolution that this was a well-crafted script to the level where he was checking every comma and that? I mean, or did you? I mean, what did you think? So I've asked Sonny first. What did you think of the actual scripting, and did you get that sense that you had a genius here?
It sounds like a lie, but I will say it does sound like he made a more conscious effort to like not make it. I think it's like I say not make it as polarizing because like there wasn't overt like gender fluidity stuff. There wasn't overt messaging. He really did put a beginning, middle, and end to the story, which is why I said I'm a proud not watcher of season 1. I haven't watched any of it except for one episode. But like if this was the season 1 opener, I would call it even good. But because this is season 2 and like all of these plot points are already out there and like you need to be a fan to appreciate half of it, it's just not good enough, right? So like it's a lie, but I see what he's trying to say. I see the kernel of truth, but it's too small.
Ryan, what about you? Did you get a sense when you watched that it was well written?
No, but I do agree with Sonny though, is at least this does have a start, middle, end. I think it is more cohesive than anything that we had at a season 1, but the problem is this is what we kind of needed in season 1. It's season 2 now. I think it's already too little too late, quite frankly.
Okay. Sean, I'm bringing you in here. So Sean, did you think it was one of those better scripts by RTD?
Is that a serious question?
Well, I don't.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, lead away. It's not good. It's do you know? It's just how sanctimonious and hollow it all feels. Because I think Murray Gold's music's not been great since they came back. And can I just say, excuse me, because I'll forget to say this. I've seen this episode twice now, and I thought when I first listened to it that Murray Gold had ripped off Lost. I love Murray Gold. But go back and watch it and listen, because I swear it's just Michael Giacchino's soundtrack for Lost. It's unbelievable. But anyway, no, it's not. To be fair, I agree. I do agree with what Sonny was saying, that if this was better opener than Space Babies, the Doctor felt a little bit more like the Doctor. But then, of course, they ruin it because he cheers that someone's died, even though this is the same Doctor that talked. He was the same guy who had sympathy for a Dalek when it started feeling emotions, and and it just doesn't make any sense. This is not. Sorry, yeah.
No, it's all right. And so just moving on. This is still just overall looking at the story, because there's plenty of punch tonight coming. He said, I think it's part of the show going forward. Lots of shows break the fourth wall, and I like it. I think it's fun. Doctor Who should be everything, do anything and go everywhere. So when you saw the Robot Revolution, you had the break in the fourth wall of Mrs. Flood again. Again, it takes me out of the plot. I don't like that. But I don't know if this is, as he keeps saying, he's not writing the show for me. So if I ask Sonny, do you like this kind of breaking the fourth wall, anything goes routine?
All I can say is I don't mind it. But if he wants me to like it, it needs to actually apply to the story being told. So like if he did it and it broke the wall and then like it related to the Robot Revolution, then I would have been like, good job, RTD. You're smart, sort of, kind of. You can write, maybe. But the fact that it's just there to be like, you saw season 1? I didn't see season 1.
Yeah.
Now what? Now what?
Ryan, this is not my type of TV, but he's not writing for me. Breaking the fourth wall, anything goes.
No, what I like, things that break the fourth wall. Does it have any place in Doctor Who? No. Don't me to be really honest with you. see if you really want to watch. At the minute, it's on. If you've got Netflix, it's on there. I know it's been a bit. I had a couple of dips in seasons over the years, but anyways, if you want something with a really good sci-fi concept and with a former Doctor Who in it, just go and watch the episode of Black Mirror Playthings. That's all I'm gonna say, because it was better. I know what. There's some like I have to say, the new season of Black Mirror is actually pretty damn good and some really great writing in it. And for as like that is a modern show that's very popular. A lot of people are watching it. You know, it sort of has those sci-fi concepts embedded in it.
So
You
is
know,
this? Sorry, Ryan. I'm just trying to. So is this? I'm trying to understand. This is partly why I do this third review of any show this week. If everybody's trying to get it, and we will tweak the format tonight. So please give us feedback later. But Ryan, what you were saying then, and you're more kind of informed than me on this sort of thing. Are you saying that this is a kind of style thing televisually nowadays that I just can't get? That actually they break the fourth wall willy-nilly, they do this, they do that, they break genre, they break formula, and that's kind of the current vogue. Is that what you're saying to me?
not particular. To be honest, I think fourth wall breaking is already out of date. Like it was a big thing 6, 7, 8 years ago. A lot of sort of breaking the fourth wall sort of thing, sort of nudge to the audience. I actually think it's kind of outdated now, but maybe I'm wrong. But if you want to go and watch something with good sci-fi concepts in it, that's new and modern and up to date, just go and watch the latest season of Black Mirror.
Yeah, Cinnamon, does it appeal to you? I mean, you're half my age and more. This kind of breaking formula and experimentation with television formats.
No, it's one of the things that Russell seriously needs to nip in there, but it's not funny, it's not clever. Again, he's only doing what he wants it to be. He's not sitting there thinking about what us fans would like to see, which is what I would do if I was showrunner. I would think about what I would like to put my style across, because at the end of the day, I am showrunner. But I would think about fans and what fans would like to see, not just about what I see. I know Russell's desperate for a job at Disney, but you're not writing. You're not
going to get one.
It's constant. It's constant. Like Deadpool breaking the fourth wall. Like we've seen it in instances before. We saw the Tom Baker one do it, but again, you can. People say I'm making excuses, but it makes sense for him to sort of someone like the Fourth Doctor to probably talk to himself, or even Capaldi's Doctor. I could totally imagine Capaldi walking around the TARDIS, talking about Beethoven and having a speech of it. Again, it's kind of in character, but when you've got every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the episode winking, "Oh, I was never here," it's ruining my immersion of the episode, and it takes me out of it, because I'm trying to treat this seriously on its own merits. I'm trying to give it every opportunity. I'm probably the most optimistic here. Hell, I even like Shooty's Doctor, but again, they stifle it at every opportunity because I want to give it its merits. And then they take me out of it because they're just cheaping it by going, "Oh, hey audience, I'm talking to you."
Well, look, before I move on to my next item, by the way, for those who are waiting, is the 5-minute breakdowns. And I want to get the feedback from these 4 people as well as you in the thread. So I just want to tease this out again. So starting with Cinnamon, if I'm asking you, the younger generation, whether this type of Doctor Who is working and is he writing it well for you? You've just said you like the 15th Doctor. So can you just say a little bit more, Cinnamon? And I'll let the other lads come in on that, because maybe I've got this wrong. So Cinnamon, what do you like about the 15th Doctor?
I like, well, this doesn't sound like it, but he's not Jodie, which I know that isn't some sort of victory. I know that. But like when we had the 5 years with her, who just didn't feel like the Doctor whatsoever in any capacity. And yet I was constantly told that she was and how brilliant she was. Never felt anything like it. He's not a very masculine Doctor. Again, that'll be one of the negatives. I'm very 50-50 with him. I like his eccentricity. And I'm happy with the leg kick. If that was just his Doctor's quirk.
Really?
If that was just his silliness. Yeah, but again, that's not just how his Doctor is. It's because he's written to be a certain way, because Russell wants his very archetypal, very stereotypical, over the top, dramatic idea of what a gay person might be. And I can't talk about this in too much depth, but I've recently received some information and I really can't talk about it. I know this is going to sound like, oh, I know somebody who knows somebody
We
who knows
hate
somebody.
fans like you.
So I get well, I get it, and I get it, but I have some very good authority, and now you don't have to take my word for it because it's not even like I can prove it. But I have recently received some information about the casting of this choice and the casting of this doctor. And again, I probably people say, well, why'd you mention it then if you can't talk about it? I just want to let you guys know into the, oh, it's not cope, mate. It's not cope. I'll happily. I try to be balanced. I always try to be balanced. That's my outlook. I'll happily slate this. Again, you should sue me on previous seasons. I will happily rip this one and a new one if I feel it's warranted. But when I see, again, as I was just saying, when I see the casting choices, or when I hear about who was picked or who could have been picked instead of this person, and again, I do like Shooty's incarnation to a T, to a point. I have to say, Russell, there's a lot of spite. There's a lot of bitterness from Russell. A lot of spite. A lot of
You big tease. You big tease, Cinnamon. You big tease.
Well, the thing is,
and it's not even funny.
The thing is,
I'm not even being funny. I'm quite disappointed with Russell from what I've heard.
Yeah, well, what we'll say is there's been a lot of rumors out there. I've heard an awful lot of rumors and names of other actors who got the role before Shooty, and there's a lot out there at the moment. But I had just said, what about the Shooty doctor that he was claiming was so good? I mean, Sonny,
he told, right? He didn't say anything. He didn't give it. He said, and I was listening, buddy. He said the only good thing about the doctor was his high kick. And that's a dance move. Now, I can do a high kick, I guess. No, sentiment. Buddy. I can do a high kick as in like a karate move. Like I can kick and hit somebody's head like with my foot. Like, and it would be like cool, actiony. It would be a doctor I could get around. There's a way to do it, but no, they put him in a dress. They make him dance around. It's a big show. And you said because we could have got worse actors, we should accept this bad one. It's mind-boggling. Coke. It's Coke. That's mind-boggling.
I'll come back to you in a minute, Cinnamon. Don't worry. Just get your best examples in your head when I come back to you, Sean. Your thoughts on the 15th Doctor, because Cinnamon is going to tell us why he likes him.
I mean, I got from what Cinnamon's just said that somebody better was lined up or cast and they changed their minds. That's my guess. But that aside,
that was literally
the 15th Doctor.
So if he didn't put words in my mouth, I probably could have said that. But
wait, let's keep Sean, then Cinnamon, so there's no crossover.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, go on. No, I'm not putting words in your mouth. Anyway, so for me, the 15th Doctor, I mean, it's a strange choice. Now, could a doctor that was one sexuality or whatever, could it have worked? Yes, of course it could have done. Just like a female doctor could have worked. But the problem with that is it's a dramatic shift for people. It's a tough enough sell as it is in terms of changing an established character, not just the fact it's a woman or somebody gay. That's not the point we're making here. It's just it's a big change for people to accept of a long show. And if you're going to do that, good God, you need to back it up with good writing first and foremost. Because I watched the show that Shooty was in, about the only other thing he's been in. He was in Masters of the Air for about 5 minutes because they edited it to pieces. And I saw him in his previous show with Isaiah Butterfield. He was good in that. You got that they could have had a younger doctor. I hoped it would be, and I know how this sounds now. I do know how this sounds now because we've seen what we've got. I hoped it would be like a Matt Smith. I hoped they'd seen something in him, and I thought, we're going to take this forward. I should have known better. I know. But the proof's in the pudding. You've got to give people a chance. I thought it might work. But but I think they've also, to be fair to Shooty, and I don't know anything. Well, I don't think they've been fair because from little bits he said in it. Sorry, my last bit, Brennan. I promise. You've heard him say things like I heard on your show way back when I went and read about it. He asked for like a costume. And he said, I've got ideas about my costume. And they were like, no, Shooty. Oh, poor little Shooty. Go sit in the corner. We're going to put you in everything everything. So I don't think he's been helped. As you've
No.
said that, you've argued they've made it
there's-
into kind of a Ken doll.
There's also
That's my point. So
there's also rumours that he hasn't helped
Go
himself
on,
in
Uncle.
various. I mean, there's rumours and there's rumours and there's rumours that he's not exactly. I remember when I first talked to Sonny, and I think it's always relevant when we talk about blooming representation, which I don't think really needs to be rammed down people's thoughts. That, as you have said, but I'm not putting words in your mouth, Sonny. Every time I'll give you a chance to say it, but the 15th Doctor doesn't speak to you, does he?
No, not at all, because I am not homosexual. If we want to like trauma dump, I guess, which I don't believe this, but like in elementary school, they use that as a insult towards me to bully me, like you're gay, which is like, wow, that's not progressive at all. And now they're trying to tell me, I guess, that I'm gay because if I like Doctor Who, I gotta like this doctor. Yeah, I gotta like the things he do. No, I just disagree ideologically wise, which should be okay, and I should still be entertained, but like I'm not. But nobody cares, I guess, what I think.
Yeah. So I'll quickly finish this off before we then move to the 5-minute breakdown. So Ryan, then Cinnamon, because Cinnamon will tell us what he likes about the 15th Doctor. I mean, I kind of wanted more from Manny, but that's not because I'm in any way inclined. It's just because, as I said on my Saturday review, I just think they're the fighters. They're the veterans. They're the ones who change a rebellion and win a rebellion. They're the ones who risk their lives. And the chattering classes, which is what the Doctor and Belinda Chandra were, just the chattering classes using words. I don't think they're the story. They're boring. Ryan, does the 15th Doctor kind of speak to you? Is he a good character for you?
No, I haven't had a Doctor that's spoken to me since Capaldi, and that's, you guys all know that anyway. But like we were talking about earlier on, all the Doctors very emotional and all this. No, I do think in New Who there's definitely room there to have emotion, but it's how it's done and how it's written and how impactful it is. Like we've seen the whole PTSD thing with Christopher Eccleston and early Tennant, and then obviously there's this sort of whole Gallifrey thing and between him and the Master. That was all very well written and actually made you feel something. This now, like yourself, if you keep making your main character cry all the time, whenever shit really does hit the fan and they start crying, it's not going to mean as much. The only time, like, you want to see the Doctor completely lose control in those completely and utterly dire situations, because then it's going to make you go, oh shit, actually, yeah, these are high stakes.
I keep imagining Ryan, when he regenerates, he'll really cry then.
No, it just doesn't really, like, personally, I know a lot of people are very much for, we want a younger Doctor in the role. Personally, I think, even though we had Capaldi not that long ago, I think to save the show now, you need somebody older, established to come into the role. People, a household name that people know and go, oh, shush, yeah, we like him. We're going to watch him in Doctor Who. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Now, Cinnamon, final call on this one. Back to you as I promised, and then we do move on. So, Cinnamon, we all talk about twerking, dancing. We all talk about crying. I'll say it one more time. Crying and getting it out your system is healthy for everybody. We're not knocking that, but this Doctor just seems to be a one-trick pony to a degree. But back to you, Cinnamon. Why do you like the 15th Doctor?
Well, again, it's very important. I said in parts. No one ever said who was the greatest Doctor.
I'm gonna nail you down.
Sonny, you've had 2 streams with me, mate. You don't know me. I've been around the block a bit on these old YouTube channels. I've slated Doctor Who to high hell. Believe me, mate. You're
a fanboy. You love him.
Again, yeah, I'm down on my knees and everything. The Ncuti Gatwa is somebody. He's Hollywood's purse puppy. He's got Cottonwell in his head. They're all talking about he's off to Hollywood because, for some reason, we're yet to find out. Again, Russell talks about how he's going to be held back at like premieres and saying, "Oh, I used to know him," and like, "Oh, he won't be allowed in the building." Again, nobody's saying this except you. Like, who are we? We don't think that. I mean, again, I like qualities. I like his eccentricity. I like some of his costumes more than others. I hate the fact that they stifle him at every opportunity. Again, he sits there on the floor crying. Again, like Ryan has just said, if you want to have it be impactful, have it happen rarely. Having it happen every single episode. Again, I think it was only one episode. I think I came to the point where I celebrated the fact that there was one episode where he didn't cry. I think it was episode 7. He had a little tiff and sat on the floor and punched the wall.
Well,
but I don't believe it yet.
Yeah,
Something like that. The fact that I say that though, again, it's every episode. It's constant. It's like 95%. And again, like Sonny said, and he made a very good point. Again, Shuli is someone who is in a similar boat. Someone who is, again, we'll just say someone who's low on confidence. Someone who's, again, emotionally like that. Surely you, again, like Sonny said, you would want someone to aspire to, someone who is confident, someone who is,
I don't
emotionally secure.
Yeah.
I won't put words into it because I don't know what you know what he said. But, that's what I think. I agree with Sonny.
I don't want somebody. Empire of Death did it for me. I don't want somebody punching the wall in anger. That seems to me that was my job when I was in head of year, and a kid would come in my office. They'd kicked off in a classroom, were sent to me because they'd been naughty or lippy, and they would come in my office. I say, "What's wrong? What's happened?" And they thump the wall or headbutt the wall. That's anger management gone wrong. And I don't want my doctor, hitting the wall in the Empire of Death because he can't deal with the Sutekh problem. That to me is not dealing with it. And it's not good writing to me because he's not a good role model. I think RTD has dragged the Doctor down to being very mortal and very human, and therefore he's
made him very. It's a desperate attempt to make him relatable.
Nothing to
the Doctorness. Of it.
He's not special.
So again, he's much more. And the fact that he dresses him in human clothes, it makes him just like another person off the street. Whereas that, and again, for all his eccentricity, and again, and he had the, like you say, well, except for Geordie, clearly, no charm there,
right?
But apart from his personality to some degree, Russell, like I said earlier, we could have had a good choice as the Doctor, and yet from what I hear and what I was told,
right, so
money was spent. We could have.
I'm going to move on now because I know, lads, I will bring you in, but I'm going to keep us moving. It's So the 5-minute breakdowns are there. I did discuss these on Sunday, but I wanted to get the feedback from our chosen ones here, the 4 lads and yourselves in the thread. Just to kind of give you a very fast recap, you can see that Gladiators overall was the average in 2.9. But as you can see, it delivered. It's like a relay with a baton, isn't it? When they're finished at 6:45, they were handing, hopefully, an audience just shy of 3.2 million to Doctor Who. Doctor Who basically dropped the baton and dropped 1 million people. As you can see, it started at 2.2. And then as the show meandered into play, it lost a further 300,000. Did all that on Sunday, broke it down that way. But I watched again tonight, and if you count 20 minutes into the program, so if you can see there, it starts to dip right down to 1.918. That's when you'd had the 9-word explanation bit. You'd had the Doctor crying at 20 minutes. That's roughly where we're talking about. You'd had the battle scene as well, by the way. You'd think that would be pleasing to some people. So all I was wanting to show you is, gosh, this is not working, is it? But I wanted to get your feedback, the younger generation. Halfway through his program, it dropped down another 300,000. Does anybody have a guess why? And it seemed to not grab 1 million of the Gladiators audience who decided to go elsewhere. Now, if I come to Ryan first, just so we've got some kind of structure. Ryan, have you got any guesses why it's not appealing? And when the show started, it's not appealing?
Because people, quite frankly, like, this show does not need fans watching it. It needs the general public watching it, or at least, as I've said many times before, something that, mum, wants a bit of eye candy, dad wants a bit of eye candy in the companion, and the kid's sitting there loving life, watching a bit of Doctor Who, and this doesn't appeal to the masses, unfortunately, and it also doesn't appeal to. Well, no, sorry, I can't say that. No, but it doesn't. It doesn't. It's not made for a large percentage of the fan base. I think I'm okay to say that, but this show is not made for the general, and it hasn't been. Let's face it, like it hasn't been since Matt Smith. You know what I mean? It just hasn't. Like Doctor Who in the UK really hit its peak with that sort of, household name with the end of Tennant, really. And then it was okay because it got big in America whenever Matt Smith came in. And let's be real, as much as I love the man, everything has been a downhill slope since Capaldi. The general public have had enough of this show. They just have it. That's just the simple fact of the matter. And the real reason why it is still going is because the BBC are making money from it, but not from the actual TV show, from the actual, merchandising arm of the BBC. The show's not bringing any money, but on the other hand of things, Doctor Who is still very much a big brand and brings in a lot of money. But
Now, Sean wants to come in, but I'm going to ask all four of you one very quick question. It's almost a one-word, answer, please, just for this bit, because I mentioned as part of the ratings and everything that only 91,000 had watched it on stream that first day. And only a year ago, RTD said that's the future, and they had it on at midnight in Britain and all the rest of it. So my question, and I'm going to start with Cinnamon, and I'll go down the row, and then I'll come to Sean in a moment, who does want to say something. I just want to ask you, how did you watch Doctor Who when you first watched it? Was it at the actual time on terrestrial TV? Was it on BBC iPlayer? Was it on streaming? I just want to know, because you're the generation. So Cinnamon first, how did you watch it?
On the iPlayer. I was later at a convenience.
Yeah, that's okay. Sonny?
The answer is streaming, but hilariously enough, when I was watching Doctor Who on my peak, I was watching it on TV, on BBC America during the Capaldi era. I watched that whole era on TV week to week, and I loved it. So, but everything else I watched streaming.
Okay, Sean?
I watched it live. I think we forget now how much, like Ryan said, Ryan hit the nail on the head perfectly. We watched it as a family. Like, you can't get across how much of a staple on Christmas Day Doctor Who became. I mean, people forget when Matt Smith came in. Yes, it did well and people liked it, but it lost a lot of casual views then. It lost my grandparents because Stephen Moffat got too timey-wimey. Yes, I am 6. And he lost casual viewers then. And he strung the show out too much trying to do Sherlock. And by the time it got to Capaldi's run, it was really running out of steam. But it's brilliant compared to what we get now. But for me, we watched it around like Ryan said perfectly, your mum would watch it because she liked David Tennant. Your dad would watch it because it was decent to watch. Because the parents had the TV remotes. Or the computers, I don't know. The kids don't just grab the remote and go, "No, Dad, the football's not going on tonight. Doctor Who's on." That isn't happening anymore. And the rest of the family watched it because you wanted to watch it. And Christmas Day, people would say, "Oh, we've got if you watch the Queen or whatever," and then Doctor Who's on. No one cares now. They've lost. That's Ryan. So perfect. That's the main problem they've got. Most of the fans have gone, and also the casual audience have gone. I did the straw poll in the office, and no one watches it anymore.
Well, I do have a theory.
Go on.
Sorry. No, Ryan, don't worry. I'm just trying to bring you in because, as everybody knows, I used to be a teacher, and as everybody knows, I said I'd ask everybody for a one-word answer, and then I'll bring Sean in. Sean, of course, is that I can guess what he would have been like in class. The bell's gone and everybody wants to go home. And he's still going. Anyway, sorry, I'm joking. It was a really good answer, Sean.
How you dare? I've sat here and quiet. I've got this teacher hates me. I'm going to the head.
Yeah.
This is a disgrace.
A one-word answer. How stupid of me to say one-word answer and Sean at the same time. Anyway, Ryan.
Oh, did you say one-word answer? Sorry, I apologize. I wasn't listening.
Okay, sorry. Go on, Ryan.
No, I was just going to say, and maybe Brendan, you can elaborate on this, but I'm sort of looking at this with parallel with classic Doctor Who, and this will then bring me on to my next point. Is basically, in the 60s, whenever Doctor Who first came on, it was this new, exciting family show. Great. That kept the wheels spinning for a few years. And then whenever them kids ended up getting into the teenagers or the adults, they had John Pertwee and Tom Baker to enjoy. That kept the wheels spinning. But then as we got into the 80s, as we all know, things started slowing down. Towards the end of the 80s, you basically more or less had a ragtag team going, don't take away our TV program, the ratings were terrible. Sort of a mirror image of what's happening now. It started off here and gradual, even though I still love 80s Doctor Who, like it is my favourite era next to the 70s. But this is my point. My point is, Doctor Who should have a long rest and then come back again. Now, because they always do this. They've tried doing this in New Who 3-4 times at this point, going, oh, come in now, new viewers, and, this is a perfect jumping on point. It's never a perfect jumping on point. Like, Russell T Davies said, oh no, like, season 1, this is a clean, fine season 1. As soon as he's in, we're talking about timeless Chad stuff. The main villain of the entire series is Zootek, of all people. Who's going to know who Zootek is unless you watch classic Doctor Who? Nobody. Like, it basically needs a rest for a few years, and you basically more or less need to do 2005 all over again. Basically, treat everybody like fools for a while, like the general, and just drop little nuggets. All right, he's a Time Lord. He's done.
I feel like he's been treating us like idiots for about a year now. But I see your point. But quickly to give you an answer, there was this talk after Tennant. Remember, there was the BBC were concerned that nobody could follow Tennant.
No, the BBC were going to cancel it in 2009. Yeah.
And so I'm aware that, and I'm sure there'll have been a discussion after the Chibnall era about if they didn't get RTD, I wonder if they would have really been stuck. We know there's now rumours again that the BBC are in a bit of a pickle. There's lots of rumours about many people have left the ship. A lot of people have left the ship, and we're just left in a limbo while the BBC looks for other streamers, other showrunners, other lead actors. That's one of the rumours, isn't it? Now, so we're in that state again. But what I will say, as the old crone on this screen to you, all you youngsters, which is people are too flippantly, though, still saying it just needs to be rested. I agree with that as a rationale. Of course I do, because it does look tired. Mm-hmm. But be careful what you wish for. We only know those wilderness years went on so long. And I have to say, not all of us were freaking out about Big Finish and new adventures and stuff. Some of us had actually just thought that's it. Mm-hmm. You heard rumors every blooming year, it felt like. And it was a horrible time, I felt. People are now making the wilderness years sound as though there was this golden time. I think people are getting a little bit silly here because it was a horrible, barren landscape. Yes, there were fans doing other stuff, but I wanted my TV Doctor Who back, and it wasn't. And then they started doing it on Comic Relief and other stuff, and you thought, are we only going to do jokes now? Doctor Who is just this myth that never comes back. I totally agree with what you're saying, Ryan. I'm just saying, for every time I want it rested, I want a kind of life insurance policy that it is going to come back and say.
I couldn't agree more with you. The thing is, if it does come back, you can't have anybody that has been associated with it in the past 20 years involved. It needs a complete new. Actually, you know what it needs? It needs people from like this panel, this generation.
Yes.
You need a completely new, fresh set of eyes on it that actually live in the modern world, not Russell T Davies looking down from his ivory tower thinking that he knows it all whenever he clearly bloody doesn't. Like we all live in the real world. He used to, once upon a time, he used to be able to write decent Doctor Who. He doesn't anymore, so...
It's true. It's true. Look, there's a time when you're too old. I used to be a trendy teacher. Then I was the old teacher. then you're out. Yeah, he's now in his 60s, and look, he's got a career CV, but I think what I'd say to you, Ryan, is yes, I think we need a generational shift in Doctor Who writing. Whether it's going to be somebody like Pete McTeague or somebody like that. Has anyone got a thought on the future of Doctor Who on that score? Because we've got plenty to still talk about, by the way. Don't you worry. Go on, Sonny.
Yeah, I had my thought from like the real issue with the show. Cancellation isn't the best solution. The best solution is writing. The writing is just crap. The bones of the show is just toxic and crap. You can fix the robot revolution. That's kind of why like it makes me upset to think about this episode, because you're not even thinking about the actual episodes. If he told the story in order, I mean, no time skips, there was no 6-month thing. If there was a 6-month jump, we actually saw what happened. Like, if he just told the story in order without the unnecessary time travel, once we got to that part where with the 9 words, that was when the first rating drop happened. The first big one happened, and that's what clicked for me when I saw your chart, because on my second rewatch, that's where I turned it off at that exact moment, because you can poke easy holes in it by just asking the question, why not 3 words so the episode can go by quicker? Why are we doing 9? So like it is simple questions like that take you out of it. It destroys the episode, and then you're like, well, now I got good looking Doctor Who that I need to turn my brain off to even enjoy. And it's like, that's not fun. That's not good.
And you know what? I know all these are clever tricks if you just want to do a very fast story. You know, it's a neat get out trick. But if it had been a 4-episode story, it would have been quite interesting that you see the Doctor discover this 9th word thing. You know, it's just
that's classic Who thinking. That's what it is. That's just classic Who thinking, and that's why I said on the first impressions review, this makes you think of classic Who. It gets a classic Who rating because you just like, what if we just explored what was there? What if we just had fun with what you built here? But no, we got to go to the next planet. We got to go to the next idea on the next episode. It's not episodic. It's not Doctor Who.
Yeah. Now, I did promise to bring Sean in, and as Sean is just unmuting himself, I'll just say Yokai here says, going against me, it's allowed. The Wilderness Years was a golden age, Brendan. So much good Who stuff in books, audios, comics, animation, magazines, expanded beyond the confines of TV. It's when I became a fan. Yeah, it's only my opinion. I didn't enjoy that time. I knew there was Big Finish. In a way, Yokai, it's a tease, because if I bought a New Adventures book, which I sometimes did, if I bought 1 or 2 of the Big Finishes, which I sometimes did, it hurt me, because as soon as I read it or listened to it, I thought, I know, but this is not TV, Doctor Who. I want to see it. So I understand what you're saying. It's your opinion, and my opinion was I still hurt. Anyway, over to you, Sean.
Cheers. Just to go back to what we were talking about with a change in the writing. Now, I would argue it's less a generational thing. I think we need a class change. TV is made by people who there's no working class people there, or very, very few. Or as the Americans would probably say, blue collar workers, I think is their equivalent. I know they don't have class in America, obviously, but not as much as, if you know what I mean. I'm being a bit sarcastic, but yeah, the need a change there. You need people who understand what the hell's going on. Because another thing that they're missing from all this, and not to get too hoity-toity, is that, above myself, like, it's a tough time for people. I don't live in America. I don't know what it's like over there or the rest of the world. But people in England are struggling. They are struggling. Forget watching the bad news, Russell. People are struggling out there. Do I put the heating on? Do I put a meal on the table? This isn't fairyland stuff, mate. This is going on every single day for people who are nurses. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, people who work are struggling, to live and get the basics. And yes, I know we're very, very privileged in this country. We are. There's other countries that are far worse off. So I know it's all in proportion. But people need, this is meant to be escapism. We're meant to turn on Doctor Who and enjoy it. Going back to what we were watching earlier, Gladiators and Britain's Got Talent, what are they? Family shows, and what do they give you? And I'm getting annoyed now. What do they give you? They give you entertainment. They let you switch your brain off for a bit. They let you forget, and I know the temperature's warming up, that it's a bit cold, or that you've had a crap week at work, or someone's died in the family, or whatever it may be that's going on. Whatever it may be, we've all got stuff going on. Do you know what I mean? That's what Doctor Who used to be. That's what people's favourite shows, Red Dwarf, whatever it is you watch. That's what our TV shows and films used to be for us. And that's what we want them. But no, we get this sanctimonious crap rammed down our neck and we can't be bothered with it. And instead of getting, what's going on? Why have you all disconnected? What can we do to get you back? What have we done? Let's have a look at ourselves. No, you're the problem. You should go touch grass. Why are you all outside not watching my program? It gets on my nerves. I think, what are these? And we sit here and try and come up with all these intelligent ways to solve it. They don't care. This show's going under, and it'll dip below. I can't wait to see what people say. Once it dips below 2 million, I can't wait. What they're going to say then? Because no one's watching iPlayer, no one's watching on TV. What is everybody? Is everybody reading comics? Are they all watching Big Finish? Is that why no one's watching the show?
I think I'm on the right lines, because I think TV vogue does change, and you can be out of vogue and then you can be back in. So I'm going to ask you four dead quickly, concise, Sean. No, I'm going to ask you this: do you think we are hitting a ripe time for Doctor Who to go back to episodic and go darker with great cliffhangers? Maybe RTD was right that in 2005-6 you didn't need it, but I think that's what Doctor Who needs now. And I think television is desperate for unformulaic, and when I mean unformulaic, everything's all very kind of safe TV. But when you get a substantial drama, everybody talks about it, The Postman and everything. Anyway, I'm not leading you. I promise I'm not. Cinnamon, what are your thoughts? Do you think this is a good time for Doctor Who to go back to its roots regarding cliffhangers and episodes?
It would do well to do it, but whether it will, I don't think it's going to happen. There's a lot Doctor Who should be doing right now, but it doesn't. And it's doing a lot wrong. It's again, I try to come from an objective point of view. So there might be something that I personally like, but objectively I will state isn't good. Objectively, I am able to, well, not object. I personally am able to take something, some parts of this era and enjoy it. But objectively, I'm not sat in a burning house, and my fingers are amazed. I can see where the issues come, and there are definitely issues. Russell is ideologically captured, and that does wonders to people. It really does. It's unbelievable the difference between him. You think he was a different person. Again, I see smidges, and I mean slithers of what the old era was like, and this era it pales in comparison. The more interested in, again, I think Russell actually went on record as saying during the whole actors strike thing that was happening recently. He spoke about, what a crying shame it would be for us to lose all this great talent. Well, I'm sorry, Russell. You want us to feel bad for you? Well, because what a shame it would be if you had to work in a coffee shop instead of preaching to us. That's what he's saying. That's literally what he's saying. He wants us to feel sorry for all these writers, because again, without us, they wouldn't have their talented jobs. So without us, they can't preach to us.
Right.
That's a slippery slope.
Doug Anderson here. There are plenty of drama series that have one story over a season with cliffhangers each episode, 2-part stories. I think RTD has been too stubborn on this one. I really do. And I agree with you, Doug. There's ways around this. There really are. Sonny, what are your thoughts? You're in America. You're a different age to me. I'm fascinated. Do you think successful TV, high ratings TV, is that kind of more episodic, darker type of TV?
I don't necessarily think TV has to be like that, or even like the best TV is like that, but Doctor Who is that, and it's always been that. So like, we haven't been doing the format for a while now. It's not the OG format. There's no cliffhangers, there's no connectivity. the episodic nature, the reason to come back and watch next week. Like that was always Doctor Who's bread and butter, and it was a money maker, was because they were able to do it cheap. So when they threw that out the window and they're like, well, let's raise the budget. Okay, we're doing everything inverted now. So since you raised the budget, it's going to cost more and take more talent to pull out a profit. Right. And so it's just so yes, I agree, but all I hear from the conversation is I just want good writing. If you had good writing, I guarantee you would be okay with the 45-minute format. You would be okay with even a lack of a cliffhanger if we got a complete story that we can contemplate and think on. But like, because we don't have that, we just yearn for what came before.
I just want to, thank you, Garbage, for advertising Cinnamon's channel and for Sean's channel. I just want to mention Sean for a second because, yes, Sean, your podcast, Review It Yourself, I just want to say now, and I will give you a shout out at the end properly, but yes, do take a look, everybody. He's busting a gut, making lots of content. So, yeah. And obviously Cinnamon's channel is there as well. There's a lot of gaming stuff and that. So yeah, I do try and get really good panelists. They're workaholics, really, very creative. And so please do check them out because they're well worth it. And I'm always appreciative when they come on here. Sean, your thoughts? I mean, it doesn't have to be much because there's a lot more of content we can talk about with Robot Revolution. But would you think it's a good time to go back to the Doctor Who format of episodes and all that stuff?
I mean, I don't know if this cat's got any lives left, but if it does, I mean, it can't hurt. But I mean, yeah, it could. Of course, it could go back to the old format, of cliffhangers and that old format of things. Of course, they could go back to it. I just think as long as it's well written and as long as it engages people and it has characters you care about, and these are all things that were basics like 10 years ago. I'm rewatching, I've never watched it before. I'm watching The West Wing, amazing American TV show from like 99 to 2006. And the writing in that, and it's so politically balanced, and they never tell you how to think, and I don't understand a lot because it's American politics, but I love it. So people will flock to well-written shows. Look at last year with sorry, you said brief, didn't you? But look at last year with that Mr. Bates versus the Post Office.
Yes.
Which anyone outside of the UK doesn't know. It was about a really hidden kind of scandal with the post office, and they were accusing people of stealing, and it got everyone talking. Everyone was talking about that, Brendan, at work, family. So it can still happen.
I like the White Lotus 6 episodes. The Prime Minister is telling every school, I don't think that's right, to show adolescence. That's 4 parts. Meanwhile, Doctor Who's doing this wham bam thank you ma'am nonsense. What I want to show you, Ryan, just for a second before I move on, is I've just stumbled on this here, right? There's a robot smashing down a door. It's well lit. That could look pretty scary as a cliffhanger. And then you might see the companion, the future companion going, oh my God, I'm stuck in a house and something's invaded it. And the first episode could have had, it's all nighttime, strange sounds, rocket lands, a bit of Mrs. Flood on the side. And there's your part 1. I don't know why that couldn't be a problem, Ryan.
I completely agree. Like, just hypothetically, if I was in charge, I would very much go back to the old format, like have, 25, 30-minute episodes and make a hell of a lot more of them and literally have Doctor Who on, half the year, every year, That's the way I would personally. But yeah, I would like to see proper cliffhangers come back and actually flesh stories out instead of, we're just going to wrap all this up in a nice little bow within the last 5 minutes with no consequences or anything like that. I would very much like to return to the old format, and I think it would be different. In this current climate, I think it would be it would stand out a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think it would be a good way to go, but I don't think they would go for it, to be honest.
Now, on this section, I call it Utopia. And on this section, I basically ask the panel, who are RTD's chosen ones, is RTD delivering? Now, remember, it's not an open question because I have quotations here. You know, I try and be specific, and you can throw around examples back at me. But here's the first one. So he says Doctor Who is unapologetically queer. Now, I didn't see much of that apart from the. I mean, the high kick isn't queer. It was just a strange moment. I didn't quite know what he was doing. For every high kick shoot he does, I know that Pertwee did his Venusian. What is it?
That's cool. Venusian karate is cool though. Like that fight scene with the master, peak, bro.
So does anyone? I mean, you know, if you want to come in, tell us now. Doctor Who is unapologetically queer, and I'm asking you: is RTD getting it right or wrong for your generation?
Well, you know, maybe he shouldn't apologize for who he is, but maybe he should apologize for making Doctor Who something it isn't. Doctor Who doesn't need to be unapologetically the Q word. And I say the Q word because Russell needs to remember that a lot of gay people were either put in hospital or lost their lives to hearing that word ringing in their ears. So again, for him to flaunt it around so much without care in the world, I would say, you know, we'll talk about, you know, problematic and using buzzwords. There's one for you. Again, Doctor Who doesn't need to be that. Doctor Who just needs to be Doctor Who. Maybe that's an idea. Maybe have a bit of fun with it. You know, maybe if you spent less time, again, you know, even though I liked it, maybe if you spent less time high kicking and prancing around doing Fortnite dances or whatever it was, and actually, you know, maybe give the episode another 15 minutes, because it was a 45-minute episode, which probably could have done with being an hour, just to flesh things out just a little bit more. Now, would the extra 15 minutes have saved this episode and made it great? No, probably not. But it would have gone and made a difference. It would have went away. 15 minutes of extra footage would have done something. And again, like we assessed it out earlier, why not have a scene where the Doctor discovers about the every eighth word rather than just being told, okay, it's a thing. Again, it's very rushed. The things need to happen because the plot requires it. We've got 45 minutes. We've got no characters. We've got these rebels that nobody cares about. I can't even remember. Do you remember that guy that was kind of having a bit of a pop at Belinda? I don't know his name. I just know that he was a bit moaning, I had a problem with it. I don't know his name. The only characters really in this are the Doctor, the companion, and then the apparent incel, which, I mean, again, I say apparent because he doesn't really hate women. He just wants to be manipulative and controlling, and he's immature.
So,
you know.
So as I'm just about to bring Sean in, just to try and keep bringing the thread in as well, Doug Anderson, and I remember, sorry, John Yulden, I know earlier you asked a question of the panel, and I was holding it, but I was trying too busy to try and keep this going, because he said, when was the last time you were frightened in Doctor Who? Or there was a scary moment, because that was relevant to what we were saying earlier. So if anybody thinks of something as we go through, fair enough. Doug Anderson, he says, do the panel think the new companion is going to lighten up and become someone you may care whether she gets home? Colin Baker began abrasive and probably didn't help keep viewers, but then he did warm to Perry and all the rest of it later on. I understand it. They do it to be dramatic, don't they? They do it because they think, oh, it's not been done before in Doctor Who, so let's have him really freaking out when he regenerates. And maybe this is what he thinks. We'll have a Doctor who's the queer thing. I understand what you're saying, Cinnamon, because obviously you know my background as well. But and I don't like the word myself, and I don't like the people who are using the word, because there tend to be an awful lot of people who are not, and they're not identifiable. It's trying to become trendy for some people. So when he says Doctor Who is unapologetically queer, it sounds to me in my language that RTD is trying to say, I'm trying to make it for the trendy people or the people who think they're trendy. Doctor Who was never that. We used to say Doctor Who was for the outsiders. Doctor Who was for the people. It was never a popular show in that kind of popular way. I mean, but Sean, what you were going to come in then, weren't you? And then I'll bring Ryan in.
I can answer in 4 words. If that was said to me, I'd say, okay, your point being...
Yeah.
What's your point?
Is it a story?
How is that relevant? I don't care. That's fine. No problem. Why should I watch it? Why should I watch this? It could be whatever it wants. Why should I watch it?
Yeah. Okay, Ryan?
in terms of like sell it to me?
I was just going to reply to the question about Doctor Who being scary. We actually had this conversation on a stream a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Realistically, the last time it was really in something new in the public consciousness was the Weeping Angels, and we spoke about that the other week. That's the last time I think anything really scary come out of Doctor Who that was sort of genuinely recognised by the general mass as going, oh, Frig, that's a bit creepy. You know, oh, I don't want to. The same way like we look at shop window dummies and go, oh, Jesus, but in autons, you know, we look at statues and go, is that and it's still there. That like Doctor Who monsters work at their best whenever they're sort of hot wired into your psyche, and nothing's done that since the Weeping Angels.
Yeah, well, I agree. It's been ages for me. I mean, Sonny, I mean, have you got any thoughts on this one?
Unapologetically queer. That type of stuff is why I stopped watching the show. I peaked out, or I dipped out in the middle of Jodie's era. I gave her a shot, and I was like, "This is terrible. I can't support this." Unapologetically queer. Now you're using dog whistle terms, so now I know you're ideologically captured, and now you're saying if you don't agree with this, you're not gonna like this show. So I'm not gonna like this show because I don't agree with it. So good job, buddy. It's like every time I hear RTD talk, I just think he's dumb, and so like I don't think he can write this show. I don't have any faith. And like the person who said the Belinda arc, oh, we're gonna get a Belinda arc where she changes her tune and become a likable character. Did we get that in season 1? That's my response to that. I didn't watch season 1. Did we get that in season 1? Any character arc?
They had amazing chemistry, him and Millie. Oh, it was amazing.
Who was Millie?
Ruby Sunday had a working class mum. That's character arc or something. If that's a great story arc that keeps you gripped for months. Okay, no, she just turns out a mum in Coventry. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Doc Martin here says, can you wish my buddy Ryan, the Dalek Man, a happy birthday for tomorrow? Well, you're joining Ryan, of course. Yes, Ryan there.
Here's dude.
Yeah, you're still in our bracket, aren't you? Under 35, so he's allowed to stay on. But he's given us time tonight, and I'm really appreciative of that because he could have been on the lash tonight, couldn't you?
Well, we were filming something today, and there wasn't offer to go out for dinner, and I went, nope, I have to come on the Sensphere. So I turned down food for you, Brendan. That's how much I love you.
Well, give my best to the lads because it was a lovely meeting all the lads. They're a good crew, and I'm jealous of what you're all up to. Shh.
I can't say nothing, but today was a fun day.
Yes, and I know a little bit. Yeah, I'm jealous. I think Doctor Who's a great big open door for everyone to come and see. Even if you're straight as a nail, come and watch because there's lots for you. Sonny, in the Robot Revolution, what did you find? And it's the same question to all of you, don't worry.
That was for me.
So, Sonny, what did you see in the Robot Revolution for you?
That was for me. I saw me getting killed. I saw me asking a girl out, her rejecting me, getting kidnapped, and then I died for it. What? Like every word he says, it just makes me less and less believable of him. Like I can't follow this guy. What are we talking about? What was in there for me? I have no idea. I watched it 1.5 times. I have no clue.
Yeah. What about you, Sean, on this one? Is it speaking to you? Did Robot Revolution, if you can think of one example, because RTD is saying, so I keep throwing his words back at you, come and watch because there's lots in it for you.
Yeah. I mean, I only watched it for you, Brendan. Read into that what you will, chat. But for me, like I don't see again like the last quote. I don't see how this is relevant. I don't see how the audience is sexual. Isn't that the point we were always trying to get to? Yeah. That someone's sexuality wasn't not important, but wasn't the be all and end all. That it was a part of them that was accepted, and you all cracked on. Someone was your mate. Like, isn't that what we were trying to get to? I don't understand this categorizing of people. I don't understand. What's it got to do with your show? Instead of telling me this, mate, tell me, like tonight, I'm on the Sense Sphere. We're going to chat. We're going to get angry. We're going to get passionate. We're going to talk about Doctor Who. I didn't go, come on, there's an Irishman. There's a this, there's a that, there's the t'other. Because it's not how it's not how people's minds work. It's anyone who's out there listening. We can't see the chat. We don't know what demographic we've got in there. Frankly, we don't care. We're Doctor Who fans. We're fans. We're television fans. We're nerds. Like, that'll do. That brings us together. Man, woman, everything. No one cares. No one, like, yeah, okay. There's a tiny minority of horrendous people out there who do, but majority of us aren't. So why are you talking like? Because this kind of talk gets people suspicious. Like, what? Why do you even need to bring this up? What? Because it's not our. Is it your issue? Have you got an issue with this? Because we haven't. So what? We just want to watch a TV show, mate. We're geeks. We want to watch the TARDIS. We're not talking high art here. Just give us a bit of Doctor.
Yeah, like whenever you really do.
I don't understand what you're trying to.
Go on, Ryan.
I was just gonna say, it is absolutely ridiculous whenever you look at that quote and you're like, he's attributing this quote to a TV show about a time traveling alien that goes around in the police box fighting monsters. But yet instead of saying something like, we've made a really great season of sci-fi this season, lots of really cool monsters, lots of this, lots of that. Oh no, come on, if you're straight, come and watch it because we might have something for you. And also, it's also very, very gay. This season's very, very gay. Come and watch it. It's like, that's not how you promote your sci-fi show. I don't get it. Maybe I'm completely, my head's in the clouds. I don't get it.
And as I come to Cinnamon, just lining you up, Cinnamon, I just want to quote Adrian Sherlock here. Hi, Adrian. I'm horrified because Alan could have been my son, me or my son. And I think I want to say this before I come to Cinnamon. Don't worry, Cinnamon. You can mention what you want to mention, but I just want to lead this on. When our Britain at the moment are all waffling on about adolescence, our Prime Minister is saying adolescence should be shown to every child because of toxic masculinity, and we all have to learn about these lads. Having taught so many thousands of lads, a lot of our audience are parents. This is crazy. You will create less toxic lads, if that's what you want to call them, horrible term, if you actually show them a good role model. If you actually show them some of themselves on TV. They're going about representation. Well, I would like to say, where is the working class lad on TV? You're not seeing it. The Eccleston Doctor is what we need today. A working class doctor. We don't need this high camp, high kicking, twerking doctor. Nothing against his skin color or anything. He's the wrong doctor. It would have really worked if we had somebody who was working class, is my argument. So, Alan, I totally get it, because while everybody's saying show a program about what happens about toxic masculinity, and our program Robot Revolution did the very same thing. No, you won't have as much toxicity in manhood, if that's what you think, if you show them a good role model. Peter Davison said this years ago. Sorry, Cinnamon, you've been waiting patiently.
Has he had a bang on the head? It seems like he's had a bit of a bang on the head. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, Doctor Who is unapologetically Q word. Doctor Who is for everyone. Doctor Who is unapologetically Q word. Doctor Who is for everyone. I'm sorry, that seems like a bit like a contradiction to me from his own mouth. Which one is it? Is Doctor Who for everyone, which it was from 1963 to 2017? There was nothing stopping anyone from watching it. Anyone could watch it. There was no problem. No one has seriously said, "What, you're a woman? Oh, you can't watch this. What, you're not white? Yeah, you can't watch this." No one has ever said that. Not with a straight face. Not in good intentions. What absolute nonsense. He sits there and says, "Oh, there's something here for you." Well, what's here for me? Because every single time there's a white character, they're shown to be they're shown to be horrible, they're shown to be mean, they're shown to be toxic. I mean, again, Belinda is of Indian descent. Why couldn't it be an Indian boyfriend who's shown to be toxic? Why did it have to be white? I mean, again, and why did it have to be a woman? Because as far as I think, why do we not call out Rose for her behaviour? I think she was rather toxic to Mickey. Do we not?
Yes.
I mean, as somebody who's been in a toxic relationship I know what it's like. And it certainly wasn't me that was the aggressor in that situation. Dog whistles, but all these buzzwords. It's all one way. So you're saying there's something for everyone, and yet we tune in and we get grief. Again, we need to remember, incels are flawed, deeply immature people. And again, we did see an example of this Alan Budd character saying you can't text off after a rate or you're not allowed to use your phone. That doesn't seem, again, they keep calling him an incel. In order to be an incel, you have to have some sort of strong resentment or hatred of women. And he didn't have that.
Belinda.
He just seemed immature, pathetic, a piece of crap, which he was. And again, so that's just why Russell's own clunky messaging falls flat on its own face, because he's trying to tell us what.
Well, it also
trying to take the message that falls apart.
It also does, because he's right. Okay, let's just buy into his argument for a second that Alan Budd was a very toxic man. Like I said, it's a horrible term, and you don't calm the lads down by talking at them like this and shouting at them with dramas. It doesn't work. But let's just buy into the argument, right, that Alan Budd was a toxic male. Does it serve any purpose then that at the end he is erased from history, like cancel culture on speed? Because I thought these progressives were mad on rehabilitation. We even have people who've done terrorism who are apparently given blooming lenient kind of situations. Honestly, is what he did. He tutted at his girlfriend. He rolled his eyes. He said she could have recycled the wrapping paper. He said she shouldn't wear tight clothing. We were given 4 or 5 examples of him maybe showing a bit of kind of possessiveness or whatever we want to call it. However, that doesn't mean he should be erased from life.
That's fine. Maybe
Exactly. That's what it seems like he's trying to say. Incels are deeply flawed people who need guidance in life. We need strong men to tell them that their behaviour is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Russell.
Ryan.
Again, he thinks the answer to it is to say, "No, you're wrong." He thinks the answer is to tear people down.
Yeah.
These people need guidance. Again, you're a teacher. You've seen behaviour from students who are probably showing.
They do need to see role
similar
models.
behaviour.
I hate to say the word representation because it goes down another side alley. Ryan, you wanted to come in.
I was just gonna say, like, we're able to call out that perfectly fine, but yet we're perfectly fine with certain cultures, completely controlling women, not letting them wear what they're allowed to wear. If they do something out of line, they can get stoned to death. Oh, but no, this is we're not going to ever bring any attention to any of those real world problems. It's always going to be the white guy's the bad guy, but
Ryan, I felt exactly the same. And add to what you said as an example, if I was in a certain country with a certain religion now, I might be pushed off a blooming tower block. Yes,
exactly. If you would have went to the World Cup a couple of years ago, you might have got strung up.
Oh, me and Jamie are not going to, I think, the next 2 World Cups because FIFA have very stupidly put them in countries where I will not feel safe.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But is anybody talking about that?
No, because all the countries, even, the Gary Linekers, all the big football stars will suddenly say, well, us being there will do visibility and we'll wave an LGBT flag around. No, it doesn't work. You're taking the money. You're taking the money. Sonny, have you got any thought? Sorry, no, Sonny, I'll put another quotation in. Don't worry, I'll keep it moving. It's still relevant. This is RTD again. Whatever family you've got, whether it's your real family or chosen family or invented family, there's something that fits Doctor Who about that. I mean,
what make believe?
Wow.
I mean, so come into Sonny first. Don't worry, I know you all want to get in. All I'm doing, I'm a naughty person. You're his chosen audience, and these are all his words about Doctor Who. But what I found fascinating is when you look at Robot Revolution, Sonny, for once we didn't see much of Sonny's family. Sorry, we didn't see much of Belinda's family. We saw flatmates, housemates or something, didn't we? I saw Geordie, who was saying he got a name wrong. Was that because he's racist?
Who was Geordie?
He's called Melinda, and he said, Melinda, don't get that guacamole in the...
Yeah.
I don't know.
there's not even a likable character. So how can you say these people act like a family? Who acts like a family? My biggest issue with the episode was Belinda, or the doctor only likes Belinda. He only can even talk to Belinda is because he had his hands or his paws or whatever on her timeline. He saw her whole timeline. He knows her, right? And so whatever happens in her future and past, he likes her now. Like, that's no way to start a family, like to build a relationship with a person. When I meet somebody, I'm not going to know everything about them instantly and then force myself upon them and be like, look, we can make this work. It's not going to happen like that. So it's just like, it's disgusting to me. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. It seems like he's lying. Like, he just seems like a liar.
I know so many people who've been on this panel over the last year, and I'm trying to get everybody on back, and they know who they are, their fathers and all the rest of it. And they're not happy with Doctor Who at the moment because of certain content in Star Beast, etc. So when RTD says, whatever family you've got, okay, he's trying to be inclusive, whether it's a real family or an adopted family or an invented family or a blended family, it's Doctor Who's for you. I'm not so sure about that. Okay, move on to the next one. So,
What's it got to do with?
So I'll do the next one. Don't worry, I'll keep moving. So on this one, this is homework. I call it homework. I'll have the segments ready later. But on this one, what I want to say is, especially with relevance to Robot Revolution, assuming he'd be writing Lux now, trying to say, what would you be hoping for in Lux? So we kind of get to use what we've seen on Saturday and what we're hoping for next week. So the homework is, what should he have redrafted? What should he improve? What should he do better at? So it's like, here's your homework, mate. After watching your essay on Robot Revolution, this needs changing. This needs doing better for next week. Sean, what would you say to him if he was a student in your class and he'd written an essay called Robot Revolution? What would you be telling him about next week's essay?
Get out my class. You don't have the talent.
So
You're not
bad.
good enough. You're not putting the effort in.
Permanent detention.
It would be an insult and a waste of your time, mine, and everybody else's for you to continue with this course. Now, we'll have a little meeting later and we'll have a chat and see what directions we can best use your talent. But trust me, mate, I'm not going to lie to you. This isn't your raison d'etre. Like, we're going to move on. We're going to find something that fits you. But this isn't for you, mate. This isn't for you. So, that'll do.
Yeah.
And then I'll get taken to the heads office and probably fired, but which is life.
I mean, I'd have said to him, it was supposed to be a science fiction story. So next week, here's a few. Anyway, I've already said my piece. Ryan, we're trying to be caring teachers here. Apparently they exist. No, what would you say to him on what he needs to improve for his script next week?
I'll just sack him, to be honest. I personally, out of this entire season, I think Lux is the one I'm least looking forward to. I think I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna like it. I just got a bad vibe off it. I'm just, this is gonna be stupid and crap. But
thank God you two aren't teachers. I tell you what.
Yeah,
So Dalek Lives Matter says get rid of the two lead actors for next week, if that was the homework. Thank you for that.
Dalek's doom.
Brendan, do you know what I'd say to the kid?
Go on, Sean.
Nice. Do you know what I'd say? Do you know what I'd say to the student? I'd say, do you know that song? It's all about you. Ooh. Well, it's not. Move on.
That's a memory brought back for me.
Well, I don't want to.
All about
I don't
Russell.
want to trigger everybody, but I've seen the reviews of Lux already. And as Jess says, thank you, Jess, Lux is going to be about segregation in the 1950s. There is going to be a reference, yes. Florida,
Oh.
yes.
Well, we already done that with Rosa Parks a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that episode
I
sucked.
know, but we're all bad people, so we need to be educated better.
Oh, right, okay, right. I get it. I'm the guy.
Yeah, we all need to be reminded that racism
Yeah,
is bad.
you see-
Apparently,
So
we
it can
can't
never
just make
die.
that choice for ourselves, or we can't just.
This-
We have to be constantly.
This has
reminded
turned
of that.
very meta, hasn't it? Because what's happened is I've had it homework for RTD, but actually we've just kind of said that Lux is homework for us, the viewers.
It is.
We have to be better people. And this is all wrong. Get on with sci-fi. Just make it work. I have to say, they said it's a bit darker next week, and the Well third week is a lot darker. They've even got it on a little bit later. But anyway, Sonny, honestly, if you were a teacher and a very caring person,
Yeah,
what would
I
you
actually will. A lot of these guys are so mean to RTD.
bad.
I don't know why. I would sit them down and I would say, look, man, let's try this. Tell the story in order, okay? I know it's a time machine, but you're not telling the story with the time machine anyway, right? So let's tell the story in order. Let's make likable characters. RTD, can we do that? Let's make a character moment for Belinda to make me enjoy her character, okay? And then I would say we're going into Flux. Let's say the robot revolution, it's over. All right, we lost it. Okay, we got to write Flux, right? Related to something previous, right? Because our Lux, because the only draw for me would be Flux, I guess, to see like, would you connect to that? Right? We kind of had a cliffhanger of like the timelines and the stuff being destroyed from previous. Relate all of that. Actually talk about that stuff in your next episode. If you did all of that, we could have like a good series, actually. Like if it relates to what came before, so actually continue the story, likable moments, and tell it in order. Don't do any clever time travel stuff. Oh, he got there 6 months ago and not show it anyway. Like, don't even bother, okay? Because you can't write it. All right, just tell it in order and see what happens.
As I come to Cinnamon, I'll just so the thread. This is meant to be and we will tweak it. Please tell us what we need to just tweak, because I think we're onto something. You're sick of seeing reviews about episodes by now. Now we just want to kind of throw RTD's language back at him, his own judgments back at him, and tell him where he's wrong. Now, we've got a few interesting ones here before I come to Cinnamon. Ken's UK Adventures. It will be those pesky white men objecting to him being rude and arrogant. We're the naughty ones, I know. We're waiting for it next week. We'll all get lines. What was it? Dalek Lives Matters. Your services are no longer required. You see, vicious teacher. Stephen Braddock, can we just have some sci-fi? That's what I would have said to him, Stephen. I would have written on this thing and given him 1 or 2 tips and said, try and do this. Garbage, RTD, we'll call you, don't call us. I think that means he's expelled. He's expelled him. Philip, stop repeating your stories, RTD. I mean, I have in a way said that to kids before and said, that's a bit like, you know, one of your favorite stories, that isn't it? And then Chat GTP. I have to say, we used to check essays as well. Sometimes you have to check, you know, that there's not plagiarism going on. And I think RTD.
Yeah, no copy and pasting, kids.
What?
No copying and pasting. Get off Wikipedia.
Exactly. So anyway, Cinnamon, your thoughts on how we should improve for next week?
Oh, I can think of a few ways to concentrate Russell's mind. I think we should go back old school and start whipping out some punishment. Yeah, that bad. I think I would sit to Russell. I'd say, go away, plan it out, think about what you want it to be. What story do you want to tell? Show us a doctor that is shown to be heroic, that is shown to be likable. Have a companion that isn't just constantly mourning all the time, because that's one thing. Again, I'm able to take away some things I like about Belinda. I like that she is no nonsense. I like that she can give it a bit, and a big but, I don't want that for every single episode. I don't want her huffing and tutting and sighing in every single episode. I want her to warm up to it. Otherwise, it's just the same. Otherwise, there's no development there. And again, Russell, that's what we want. We want development. I want an interesting villain. I mean, Lux, for me, the second episode looks to be my personal favourite that I'm looking forward to out of the rest. And I said this to Brendan, the concept of a cartoon kind of coming out of the screen in that kind of fashion is very Doctor Who for me. Doctor Who, I think Ryan summed it up perfectly. Doctor Who does best when it takes mundane things like statues, like autumn, shop window dummies, water, basic things that we all take for granted in life, and they make it scary. Well, like cartoons, I mean, they sort of did it before with The Idiot's Lantern, TV, making TV scary, taking just boring, mundane things and making it scary. that's what cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons. We've all watched. Well, I don't. Maybe those younger folks. I grew up watching cartoons as a youngster, using that and twisting it. And again, there's just something creepy, isn't there, about, or at least I feel so, about those sort of silent films, those very sort of 1920s black and white, those very, very, very old Disney animations. There's something a little bit kind of creepy about those. I don't know what anyone else thinks about them, but so I can see something like that being used well. I hope it's done well. I hope there's a story there. I hope it's, again, good characters, good dialogue, interesting threat, and actually have a threat. Actually have it be serious and have it be dark. Don't be afraid to be dark.
Cinnamon is doing what we were always told in teaching to be careful of, and you all know the teacher who does it. When they give a very, very long list of how to improve, and the kid says, "I don't think I can do all that," and then they go and cry, and the parent comes in the next day and slags you off. So RTD's parents are onto you now, Cinnamon.
Well, I don't care. It's what he needs. He needs to strongly word it again. He needs a clip round the ear. He needs to be told to go away. Because he's coming into a science class and giving me food tech homework, and how to bake a cookie. You're in the wrong class, mate. This is sci-fi.
Now,
it's not the Q word.
Now, Ryan,
Doctor Who was unapologetically sci-fi, or at least it used to be.
Ryan, now Sean was trying to come in. I'll give Sean a chance in a minute. Go on, Ryan. You had your hand up. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, instead of homework, can I give RTD a detention?
Yeah, you go for it. But normally I give a detention and I give them the work to do, though, in it as well.
Oh, no, I'm going to give him lines. I'm giving him lines. He says, "I am an idiot." Write that a million times. I am an idiot because of me, Davros doesn't look like this anymore, and I have ruined Doctor Who. There we go. He's got his detention. He can offer, you know what I mean?
Oh, I can see the parents complaining, saying, "You scared him with a mask in detention. How dare you?" But Sean, what were you going to say? Because I'm going to move on. But go on, Sean.
Yeah, I was going to say to Cinnamon that I already feel like they've done this episode. And I've not seen it yet, but the whole Mr. Is it Dingaling or Ringaling or what is it?
Mr. Ring-a-ding.
Ring-a-ding? Not Dingaling. Jesus, it's not Dingaling, is it?
My Dingaling.
Yeah, sorry, everyone. Sorry, everyone. Sorry. They did it on. They already did this in Torchwood, with the episode From Out of the Rain. So I'll mute again. Sorry, everyone. From Out of the Rain. Julian Bleach was in it. Who played Davros? He played this circus guy that came out of this stuff. It was a great episode, really creepy. This isn't going to be anything like it.
Okay, so
in fact, I have to watch that. I haven't actually seen Torchwood, so I'll give you that one. I'll bow to your knowledge.
Okay, so I'm not going to do all these because I'm going to keep us all moving. But yeah, there's many quotes I'm going to throw at you over the weeks. So, for example, he said, "Nothing's been rebooted, nothing's been rewritten. It's the same joyous, fantastic show as it always has been." So,
what planet is he living on? Because it's not. But Brendan, I'm going to have to go here. He's doing my head in.
Oh, well,
I mean,
I think the Doctor's Origins has been rewritten, you plonk.
But he thinks Jodie's season is good. So, yeah, as far as he's concerned, this is a good show. He believes his lies.
Right. And just to show people, feedback will be gratefully received on how we can tweak this to make it what we want it to be, which is a fresh look, a different way of looking at the same episode that everybody has discussed umpteen times. I have an item, lads, just so you know, called Flags of Convenience. And every week when we've seen the episode, you'll tell me which flags you think RTD was raising in the episode. So, for example, Star Beast would have been the trans flag. Let's be honest. I think we had, it wasn't quite girl power, was it? Because like you have all been saying, I didn't really like Belinda Chandra. She came across, don't call me miss. She told the doctor off for checking her DNA. When honestly, it was funny that the episode was about coercive control of her, and she was starting to be quite controlling of how everybody else speaks to her. And I thought,
that's girl power. Trust me, that's
another thing to note as well. It's naturally like she isn't going to be, all smiles once she's been kidnapped. But then Then even before that, even before she gets kidnapped, she's pretty rude to the patient, isn't she?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She has no bedside manner. Do you remember that? Oh, well, what bit you then?
Those were
like-
the scenes that was supposed to
I
make
hope they-
you like her.
Look at this, Lee Smith. Very good, very good. Let's wave the white flag of surrender. Yeah, very good, very good. Ryan, I know you're going to have to go. Have a very good birthday tomorrow, mate, and I'll be in touch. But have a good one.
Not a bar. I will see you later.
Happy
See you
birthday.
later. Have a good birthday. So,
Happy birthday. Get out while you can before
so
you get any more quotes.
the Doctor is someone who has lightness and joy, queer energy. We're not delivering a neutered Doctor. We've kind of discussed that. Now,
Oh, that's-
you know, regarding, because you're the chosen children of time, remember, as Davros said. So, what I want to say to you three left and the thread, excuse me, is remember those school days? Because I'm treating you like the young ones. I'm patronizing you like RTD. Sick bay. Remember the sick bay. Now, what I call the sick bay is what really made you vomit in the episode, what turned you off. But that could be arachnophobia if it was Planet of the Spiders. So I'm actually not leading, as Sam and Anthony would say, I'm leading you to an answer, which is it could have made you vomit regarding the content you didn't like or the dialogue you didn't like, or it could actually be hitophobia. Rachel, who we have on Sundays, you all know Rachel. Rachel can't stand the Autons. They're just too much for her. It's a phobia. So she'd be in the sick bay if the Autons were shown. So that's how I'm going to deal with it. So after watching the Robot Revolution, I'll start with you, Cinnamon. Is there anything that got you in the sick bay?
Well, I think I need to be put in the zero room after hearing those outlandish quotes. I mean, goodness me. Probably just the clunk messaging. I mean, again, it's unbelievably clunky. Tries to say have this big commentary about incels when really he wasn't. He was just a thought of silly, stupid little boy. Again, we've all had relationships when we were young, and I'm sure we cringe at how we were. Again, we've all had a fair. You would imagine. We look back at ourselves and think, yeah, we would have done that differently. It's called growing up. And again, it's so on the nose. It's so heavy-handed. It's blatant kind of third wave feminism. Really, there's no point to it. It's just picking on men.
Yes.
It's all right. We'll get back. So go on, Cinnamon, Sonny, and Sean. It's a right mouthful. Sonny, is there anything? It doesn't have to be. It's just a question. Is there anything? Yeah.
It's just the ideological war about the whole thing doesn't make me sick. It's more just like it shows me that it's evil because it's like it doesn't stand up. That's why the messaging is so clunky. That's why the story just can't even like hold up on itself because the road to hell was paved with good intentions. They start calling good evil and evil good. Like it's all in here. And I'm sick of watching Shooty dance around like an idiot. Like that just makes me go like, ugh, like you're not my doctor. That's not what my doctor would do. You're not standing up for anything. Like and like just it's just.
But I will say,
Shooty's intrinsicities is what makes me sick the most.
Okay, I will say that I'm not in the sick bay as much as I thought I would have been when we had Space Babies. So, and I'm trying to just throw that in there. That Space Babies and Devil's Cord is a double lesson. You know, when we used to have a double lesson of hell, that was a double lesson of hell.
Double maths on a Monday morning.
Yeah. And you think, oh my, I can't do 2 hours of this and 2 hours of singing and dancing and superficial Doctor Who. It wasn't that. It had me in parts thinking, oh my God, we were actually kind of trying to do Doctor Who. Sean, again, you don't have to have an answer to this, but is there something that really would have made you nauseous in this episode or scared phobia-wise?
No, I'm not really phobia-y, but I think it was, I think for me, it was the reaction of the Doctor to what happened to Alan. This is a character that through the 9 words thing said, I haven't got my notes. It said something like scared, pain, help me pain, I think it was. And like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
not, you know, because because this is what I wanted to ask, and I didn't catch all of you last Sunday because I went out. I didn't catch all that one, Brendan, but I watched the whole one before that about this episode. And I don't know if anyone asked it, and if they did and I missed it, apologies. I thought there was leeway there, or at least they kept it open that did Alan actually know this was real? Did he think it was some kind of computer game or AI? Because for me, like when he walks across that bridge and he's saying, "Oh, so this is like a game, and I get to do this, and I get to do that, and I get to be in control."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, and I genuinely thought, "Oh, there's an interesting idea." I like most of these. Oh, there's a gem of a good idea in here. Does he think that this is? Did he think it wasn't real, or he wasn't sure, or did he think it was real and didn't care? But he's grown a conscience. But it didn't go anywhere. Nothing went anywhere. And to go back to what Sonny was saying and what we've said all the way through, no one's ever been convinced by somebody else's argument by being insulted, talked down to, and called names and told to touch grass. That was just a nice one for the Doctor Who fans there. But I don't see what the point is. Like, you know, if people have this viewpoint, if Russell and the other writers have this viewpoint of life and how everything should be, right, okay, well, you put your case up, make your point, and make it well, and then be prepared to stand there and listen, and then basically we will then say, well, we don't agree with this and we don't agree with that, because that's how you find the middle ground.
Yeah,
and I know it's a
there
very
is no
sensitive
personal.
subject.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say, because we're coming close to the end now, is on the phobia front, or what would make you nauseous or angry about an episode. Now, we've mentioned the death of the cat. I liked the high death count in this episode. I did. I approve of that. But some people I've seen saying they hated. It's the cat thing. The cat thing really got them.
I hate it too.
So I can imagine a load of kids in the sick bay going, "But you killed the cat! You killed the cat!" I don't know. I mean, but I'm calling out that moment because that's an example. Now, as we meander to the very end, I mean, this is the level of RTD, and this would get me in the sick bay. He says, "We all love puns in the show. We all love that. It's part of the language of the show, like the bogeymen who are actually bogies. No, that was so childish and puerile. That's what was turning me off. Get me in the sick bay now."
What am I, 6?
And
The bogeyman look
To quote,
disgusting.
to quote a bit of dialogue, what am I, 6?
I guess it's riddled through classic Who too, right?
It strangles some keys in your face and say, "Oh, good you goo." Like, it's
What
that kind of
puns?
energy. It's,
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So Sonny,
you know, Doctor Who used to be quite intelligent show for intelligent young boys. You know, again, like, you know, it used to be for the outsiders.
Yeah, we know.
People who have felt a little bit different.
His example
Whereas, you
came
know,
from
the
season
thing with
1.
Doctor Who
It didn't even
doesn't
come
seem
from
like Doctor
anything
Who's
older.
intelligent now, does it?
hold on, you're talking over. Go on, Sonny.
His example came from season 1. He couldn't pull from anything earlier. Like, oh, we all love this. Now he's speaking for everybody. Who is this guy?
And it is the episode that I think most fans, it is such a Marmite episode.
Yeah,
You know,
it didn't look good.
if he thinks that's what Doctor Who is and that's the language of the show, a lot of us were going, "That's bad language, out of it." You know, it's terrible. So lessons learned is our final little thing there. He says, now, if you just final words on the Robot Revolution, I can't wait for next week because we'll have tweaked things as well. I wanted the show to be bigger. I wanted to take the show forward. And then just to wrap up with that, we have made Doctor Who wilder, darker, madder, bigger. Cinnamon, your thoughts when you think of Robot Revolution? Did he deliver?
Again, is he talking about 2005 Doctor Who? Because if he was, I believe all of this, he's still living in the past. Russell T Davies' fingers so far off the buzzer. He's so out of touch with reality and what the public think. Fans all across the globe from clearly different countries and different backgrounds. What is he talking about here? Like, what actually are you talking about? Doctor Who, I mean, madder. Maybe for all the wrong reasons, madder. Maybe a bit too wild, maybe a bit too crazy. End of the day, again, it's just consciously malicious. And again, at least with Chibnall, the messaging was on the nose, but it wasn't always malicious. Whereas he is, RTD goes out of his way to let you know what he's thinking.
Yeah,
to constantly tell you. And again, like I said earlier, for him to mourn at all these, Saga strikes or whatever it was, that what a shame it would be for us to lose out on all this talent.
Right, I'm going to bring in...
Because it'd be so terrible for you to sell shoes, wouldn't it, Russell?
Yeah, I'm going to bring in Sonny now, just to wrap up. We've made Doctor Who wilder, darker, madder, bigger. From what you saw in that episode, is he delivering?
Oh, he's delivering all right, but it doesn't mean I enjoy it. It's wilder, all right. All the characters are wildly out of character. It's darker. They want to kill sperm and eggs and kill cats. It's madder, all right. The Doctor had 3 outfits and it's bigger. You saw the spaceship. You gotta like the spaceship when it blew off and blew into space. You're gonna rewatch it for the spaceship, right?
Sean, your thoughts? We've made it wilder, darker, madder, bigger. Is that what you want? And did he do that?
I mean, sometimes we all want things to be a little bit bigger, Russell, but sometimes it's just not realistic. We have to face up to reality eventually. And, it's not, this just isn't good enough. The problem is, I said this before, it's all right talking the talk, but eventually you've got to talk the talk. Eventually you've got to walk the walk, and they're not walking the walk. They're trying to high kick and dance and strut, and it isn't working. We're not convinced, and people are turning off. Well, people turning off have turned off. It really is. How they haven't tried to think about it and go, we have made a mistake here. But problem is, they did 2 series back to back. So
garbage, wilder, no, darker. Almost. I think next week, they're tempted. And madder, no, it's stupid. So that's the judgment of the round. Please, and Garbage has done a lovely job tonight trying to keep everybody up to speed on Cinnamon's channel. We're going to do a shout out in a minute, and Sean's channel. And also, please, this is a new format because I am very aware you've all watched my streams and everybody else's on the Robot Revolution. So I don't want to do a repeat. I wanted a different way of looking at it. And we need to tweak it. I understand that. So please get back to us. Good and bad feedback. Be constructive. Don't be like some of these dodgy teachers saying you're sacked. But if I come to Cinnamon first, Cinnamon, do you want to give a shout out for your channel, what it's called and what you're up to?
Yeah, well, it's Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Definitely not Cinnamon Toast Crunch with 2 M's there. I've just realised I've spelt that somehow wrong. I don't know where those 2 M's at the end of that come from. I want to just clock that. Goodness me, but yeah, yeah. If you've found yourself remotely interested by what I've ever said tonight, I've been contemplating doing my own review, but after doing it with Noel, then doing it with yourself, it's. Do I really want to talk about this for a 3rd time? I mean, does this episode really deserve it? I mean, I give it a rating of 3.5 out of 10. So I don't think it does deserve it. I think I'm back and forth with it. I'll see how I go. But yeah, if you're interested in, then same name.
Yeah.
Give
him a like and give him a like and subscribe. And Garbage has been advertising you in the thread, so they'll have the correct spelling. Don't worry. And Sean, on Review It Yourself podcast, I can't remember what I reposted today. What's your latest one?
It is Rush Hour 3. That's what the latest one is. But there's an awful lot of stuff on there. I do quite a bit of history stuff, but mainly it's film podcast. It's a film review podcast with myself and my co-host Sarah. So if it ever sounds like I go off on one, I'm used to being the Brendan rather than sitting and being a nice little guest. So I'm learning. I'm getting there. But yeah, we do films. There's also quite a few bits of Doctor Who stuff on there. The review I did of the Christmas special. Misery of the World, as I called it, is I think my most popular episode. So if you want to go check that out, you'll get a bit more in depth of what I think. I'm not reviewing this season. I didn't review last season, and I'm only watching this for Brendan. And after rewatching it this afternoon, I messaged him to say I'm only watching this for you. So I hope that goes some ways to showing you how much I respect Brendan and I love coming on.
I will probably meet you on Friday before the football match, and he can tell me off. And Cinnamon,
You better buy me a. You better
Yeah.
buy me a pint. You better
and
buy me a
Cinnamon,
pint.
you should join us as well because we should have a little reunion, but that's for a different day. But what I want to say is thank you, Cinnamon, Sean. Thank you, Sonny. Sonny, you're back on our Saturday Who Night show, aren't you?
Yes, sir. I should be around, and I also post some videos on my channel. It's
Well,
my
no.
name 3538. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
go on, give it a shout out. I apologize.
it's just Sunny Waffles 3538. I put it in there earlier. I'll put it in there again later. But I post sometimes. I talk about Doctor Who stuff. Later I'm gonna upload a video of me reacting to a Doctor Who fanboy on this episode, and then other than that, I have like highlights. So
Yeah.
but
Oh,
this
okay.
episode,
Not me, is it?
I can't believe he gave it a 3.5. That's generous.
Yeah. So there you go. We've got very experienced, good creator. Well, you know this. You've heard the
That's it.
content tonight.
You got to listen to what I say first, and then you see where I'm coming from. It's not just all about.
I heard what you said.
No.
Still pretty
Okay.
generous. That's what I hear. What you
This
said.
is it. This is like the school bell has gone, and you always get those pupils who want to stay and hang around and talk to the teacher. They do
Got 5
exist.
minutes.
So, everybody, thank you. Please get back to us. I mean it. You know me. I want to tweak things. I want to make it better. I want to keep it fresh. Thank you to Ryan earlier. Happy birthday to Ryan for tomorrow. Thank you to Sonny, to Cinnamon, and to Sean. We'll do this again, I hope, next week. With my added tweaks as promised. Sonny will be with me on Who Night at 11 p.m. on Saturdays. You'll see the adverts on my credits in a moment, but it'll be Detox on Friday with the Aussies at 1 p.m. Good night, everybody. See you later.
Ta-ra.